You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. It's a crosstown clash this afternoon at the Alamo Dome as we get set for the hometown showdown with two San Antonio schools set to match up for the second time ever as the 1-1 UIW Cardinals, nationally ranked out of the FCS in the Southland Conference, make the quick 4-mile trip to take on the UTSA Roadrunners, looking for their first win on the young season. And we say hello inside the booth alongside Coach Steck, Dave Steckel. I'm Jack Benjamin. No way around a tough start for UTSA. 0-2 for the first time in 6 seasons under Jeff Traylor, but it's been a game at A&M, a top 25 team, a shootout loss to Texas State last week, and now a third straight in-state rival to begin the season, and a UIW team out of the FCS that they certainly can't sleep on.
Absolutely not, but let me tell you something. It's not indicative of the UTSA football program. They are really well coached. Jeff Traylor does a great job. Now they have another big in-state rival here, right down the road 4 miles, with Incarnate who's, by the way, last 4 years have finished in the top 10 in FCS football.
Hey, you know that they come in here with something to prove, and you know their quarterback has a boulder-sized chip on his shoulder because he's a San Antonio kid. UTSA didn't recruit him when he went back in the portal. He was terrific last time we saw him against Eastern Washington.
Torres is a heck of a football player. He reminds me a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo from Eastern Illinois. He throws it well, he's accurate, gets guys the deep ball. What he must do today to win is protect the football.
A bright spot for the Roadrunners in the 0-2 start has been running back Robert Henry Jr. How about how good he's been, leading the FBS in rushing through 2 games?
Everything I like about this guy. He's got a jump cut, he's quick, he's got a burst, he can hit the home run. This guy here is electrifying, and it's exciting to watch him play today.
And he's had 4 straight 100-yard rushing games dating back to last season. He has had 4 straight games with a rush of 75 or more yards. That includes a third-quarter 75 rushing yard TD in back-to-back games to begin this 2025 campaign. UTSA won the toss. They deferred to the second half. So Joffer Murphy will send it away. And Chaden James is deep for UIW. And that goes through the end zone for a touchback. And so UIW's offense will set up shop at the 25-yard line. Second meeting ever between these two schools. First one came back in 2019. It was a dominant win for UTSA. These are much different teams, though, and Richard Torres certainly was something to prove in this game. He's a young man from San Antonio, went to Southside High School, began his college career at Nebraska. He was highly recruited. Ended up transferring over to UIW when he went into the portal. No one really wanted him outside of them. UTSA did not go after him. And here he is now getting his first chance at the starting job. Very good last time out after a tough week 0 against Nichols.
That really shocks me, Jack, because this young man, I'm really impressed with.
On first down, it's a handoff to Harlan Dixon. And the grad transfer from Southeastern gets a gain of 7 yards on first down with a stop by Davin Martin. UIW will go quick whenever they can. Torres to throw. And dumps it off on second down. That's complete for a first down to Jamison Garcia. Worth noting, Jalen Walthall, who is an FCS All-American from a season ago, out for this game for UIW with a shoulder injury. Torres surveys. And there's the arm strength you were talking about. Complete along the sideline. That is Isaiah Champagne, true freshman they're very excited about.
Jack, let me tell you something. That's a heck of a throw from one hash all the way to the out on the other side. Shows you his arm strength, but more importantly, his accuracy. Coach talked to us before the game how fast they're going to go, and they're showing it right now. Slow it a little bit down on here on second and short.
Clint Killow in his 3rd year as UIW's head coach. Of course, they've had 3 different coaches in the last 5 years. That's a result of the success this program's had. On second and short, Torres with pressure coming, and he flips it at the last moment. That is complete. It was Garcia reeling it in. Pressure was applied right up the gut from Vic Shaw. On third down, that ball tipped away from Torres. UTSA all over the floor for it. They say they've got it, and they do. It's a takeaway for the Roadrunners defense. Jimmy Wyrick on a missed snap handled by Torres, and a costly turnover on the opening drive.
Ruling
He's
on the
going
field
for that
is a
ball, the
fumble
tailback hitting his
recovered by
elbow
the
flat in the air.
defense.
We just
First
talked about it.
down,
They got
UTSA.
to protect the football, and now they're in plus territory, getting ready to go score. Nice job by Wyrick, getting on the ball and cradling the football.
Wyrick spent his first 3 years at Stanford, his second year now in the UTSA program, and well, the last thing in the world you want to do is give this UTSA offense field position like this. Owen McCown can see his numbers so far on the season. He's thrown 2 touchdowns, no picks, but the downfield passing game, something they're trying to open up a little bit. Robert Henry Jr. starts next to him. They throw it on first down. And DJ Allen makes the catch. And a big hit made by A.J. Tisdale, the corner, on a gain of 2.
A.J. Tisdale, that young man, I call it vision and break. He sees the ball thrown, he puts his toe in the ground and shoots up and makes a beautiful tackle for only a gain of 2 yards.
They are without David Amador as the UTSA offense, their second leading receiver. McCown rolls to his left. And he's got Henry, who's become more of a receiving back. He actually caught a touchdown, his second career receiving touchdown last week, in addition to those 2 rushing scores. It'll set up third down.
Nice job. He sets up in the pockets, a delayed rollout pass, comes up in the flat, wide open receiver. Again, very good job by the defensive back, vision and breaking on the football, setting up this 3rd and long.
You can see the struggle it's been on third down for this UTSA offense. Part of that reason, coach, is they're averaging about 8.5 yards to go on third down. 3 of 12 last week against Texas State.
It's not very advantageous.
Well, there's a completion and a conversion. It's Houston Thomas, the tight end. That's his 18th consecutive game with a catch. Move the chains for UTSA, a gain of 16.
Really nice job, McGowan, throwing that on accuracy, getting a nice little out pattern. The problem on that, though, Michael Pease showed like he's rushing. He drops into coverage, and didn't he get enough yards back? He only got about flat by 2 yards. McGowan throws a beautiful strike right over his head.
Into the red zone for the first time go the Roadrunners. McCown, screen, Thomas inside the 10. And he'll bulldoze out of bounds right around the 8 with a tackle from Dune Smith, who was questionable coming in. He is their 4th leading tackler, 7th-year grad student. Got a number of veteran guys in this UIW defense. Trying to hold UTSA to 3 here if they can. After the turnover by their offense in their own end.
That was funny. The coach came out and said how they want to run the football, but they haven't ran the football yet. So watch for a good run up inside here.
It was looking like they were going that direction, but a flag. And a false start.
Those offensive linemen, those big molly hawkers up front, man. They want
to... Offense, number 71, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That is Jalen Garth, the right tackle. He was penalized for a couple of false starts last week against
Correction,
Texas State.
number 74.
Yep. Darrell Jones, actually, so apologies to Jalen Garth. It was not him. It was Darrell Jones, the guy next to him. They call him Big Rel. He's a transfer from Division II Bowie State in Maryland. Penalties were such a costly factor in the second half against Texas State for UTSA last week.
Yeah, they got to really minimize those situations. A lot of that has to do with discipline.
Motion man is Will Henderson. McCown with time, lofting it to the end zone, incomplete. Well, they were going for Robert Henry Jr. He was open and he slipped. Declan Williams tried to keep him in his grips, and just a little bit of a miss there from McCown and Henry.
Nice job by DeKellen coming up over top. Gets enough depth where they didn't do that on the out route. He gets enough depth. The ball's got to go over his head, and McGowan throws it too high.
And even so, if Henry doesn't trip, he's probably got that catch. So it becomes 3rd down and 10. They can get 1st and goal to go right around the 4. In motion, Allen. Screen pass, McEwen. He walks into the end zone. And UTSA strikes first. From 13 yards out, McEwen has his first touchdown of the season.
That looked a little bit too easy, Jack. They come up to the line of scrimmage. He surveys it, throws it out there. Nice job by Garth getting up outside there. Rio's getting out, making beautiful kicked out blocks. Devin cuts it up inside, and there you show his burst and his speed into the house.
McEwen, a junior from Jacksonville, Texas, and if Jacksonville High is become an integral part of this offense, their leading receiver coming in. Extra point to come from Michael Petro. He is now a perfect 8 for 8 on PATs on the youngest season. Off the turnover, UTSA capitalizes. 6 plays, 33 yards. And Devin McEwen into the end zone for the first time in 2025. 7-0 Roadrunners in front. Seven nothing UTSA early first quarter here against their crosstown mates in UIW, both San Antonio schools. Devin McEwen, first touchdown of the season for him, 9th of his career. And he takes a screen pass 13 yards on a 3rd down and 10 situations. That won't make UIW happy.
No, that's not the start that UIW wanted. Going back in retrospect on that screenplay really showed McEwen's burst and speed.
Jaffer Murphy to kick again. First one went for a touchback. Jaden James is a dangerous return man, but if you don't give him chances to run it back, he can't do much with it. Meanwhile, during the break, it was the 15th season celebration of UTSA football. How about Larry Coker, UTSA's first head coach for 5 years from 2011 to 2015. September the 3rd of 2011, UTSA's inaugural game against Northeastern State. They won 31-3. More than 30 players and staff here today to celebrate what has been a program that has risen very, very quickly over the past 5-6 seasons under Jeff Traylor. But Larry Coker got it all started. What a legend in the game of football he is.
He sure is. A lot of those young people don't probably know Larry Coker, but that man right there won a national championship with the Miami Hurricanes.
Back in 2001. Those powerhouse Miami teams. UIW starts on the ground. They lost the football again. I think a lineman hopped on at that time. It looked like Jawan Singletary, the right guard, got to it, but they have been very loose with the football here early on the last couple snaps.
They really have. We talked about protecting the ball. They come around here on the counter. Really nice job. The linebacker stucking up in there, Tucker, making it plug where he clogs up the gap. Ball comes out. Really good job by Singletary, having an awareness to jump in on that to protect the football for them. Puts them in another disadvantage here.
By the way, that inaugural game against Northeastern State, an attendance record of 56,743. That still stands to this day. They did pack in the third largest crowd ever last week against Texas State, almost 47,000. Torres over the middle. That's tipped and almost intercepted. Oh, it was right there, sitting in the breadbasket for Shad Banks. That would have been his second pick in as many games.
Shad Banks is a really fine linebacker. The ball comes over the top. You can't tip the football. Ball gets tipped. Banks should have had caught that. If he would have caught that, he had the whole sideline for a touch. Great depth by Banks. Good job of running to the football. He's got to look that ball into his hands, Jack.
And give a lot of credit to redshirt sophomore Lawrence Brown Jr., who deflected it. He's back from injury after missing last week's game against Texas State. 3rd and 13, they need the 35. Torres against a 4-man rush. He dumps it off. Tim Carter. Space to run. He's got the 30. And he's 5 yards shy of a first down. Marcellus Wilkerson makes the tackle. And UIW's punting unit is coming out.
Marcellus Wilkerson makes a really good football play, but my man Jawan Singletary, who just recovered a fumble, gets out on the screenplay, doesn't secure the block. He gets that kick out block, and that thing right there on Carter, he could be getting more yards and get the first down for him.
The punter for UIW is Ryan Schamberger. Devin McEwen will return punts today for UTSA. Usually it's David Amador, but he's out this week. He is week to week right now with an injury, according to Jeff Trailers. So they're hoping to have him back for Colorado State in a week's time. 7-0 UTSA in front after a 46-yard punt. They will begin from the 24 on their second drive early in the first. A beautiful Saturday in San Antonio. A couple of San Antonio schools duking it out of the gridiron. 7-0 UTSA with 9:10 to play in this opening quarter. The Riverwalk, one of the great staples here in San Antonio. So last drive, UIW, a bobble on the throw from Torres. Jimmy Wyrick recovers from UTSA. We thought the ground game was everything for UTSA, and they go 6 passes, and McEwen runs in for 6.
They sure did, and I'll tell you what, it was very methodical. Short passes, quick passes, getting the ball out of his hands quick, very accurate throws, and then the burst for the touchdown.
So McCown in the offense from the 24. It's Robert Henry Jr. in the first run of the game for UTSA. And it goes for about 5.
They came out in 12 personnel. Okay, that means 1 back and 2 tight ends. They had a tight end wing over there, and that's where they ran the football to get a nice little crease for a gain of 5.
Let's see what Owen McCown did on that opening drive. Robert Henry Jr. bounces it outside. This is where he's dangerous. And he's out of bounds into UIW territory. A nice stiff arm along that run, and a gain of 24.
You see him come inside here. You see the jump cut outside. You see the stiff arm right there. The burst around the corner. Nice job of taking the angle there by Tisdale to get him out of bounds.
He is averaging about 10.2 yards a rush. Allen on the slant. It's caught. And he's shoved down to the turf right around the 41-yard line. It'll be another first down. Tyler Morton, the safety who came over from Nichols. There are a bunch of Southland transfers on this UIW team. Clint Killow went and found the top players in a bunch of these teams in his conference. Grabbed him for UIW. Another first down for the Cardinals. I should say first down for the Roadrunners. Motion man's McEwen. Off play action. All kinds of time. McCown rifles downfield, incomplete, looking for Allen. In coverage was Tyler Morton, the safety. There is a flag right around where the ball was thrown.
Obviously a sign of holding there. Nice job, the coverage on the back end for Incarnate.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, high hit on the quarterback, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Now Kevin Randall, our referee, has already had to call a couple of flags, and the roughing the passer call will move it forward for UTSA to the 26.
Sets up in the pocket. It's beautiful double coverage there. Here he goes. He steps up. He hits. And they obviously called it because he was by the head and neck injury.
Previous play is under further review for a possible targeting.
Well, you can't have a roughing the passer without a review for targeting as well these days. So John Mathis was the one called for the penalty on the roughing the passer, and now we get into the specifics around the targeting rule.
Well, you have to launch, you have to hit in the head and neck injury area. He comes around, he's running the circle there, he comes up, and his face hits him right in the head. I can easily see him then calling targeting. However, though, I will go on record saying that I'm 0-2 this year on reviews. Right. Either I'm 0-2 or the replay people are 0-2. We haven't yet decided, but we'll
stick with the latter, Coach.
Yeah, we'll stick with the latter. It's going to be targeting, in my opinion.
All right. Well, you're putting your record on the line, but regardless, I appreciate you taking chances. It's like guys who don't attempt the half-court heaves at the end of the buzzer. You know, at least you're taking shots to see if you're right. Owen McCown's as tough as they come.
He is. Here's another really good shot by our camera people coming off around the edge.
And Mathis, by the way, is a key piece on this defensive front for UIW.
And the disappointing thing about it, there it is, that's definitely targeting in my opinion. And I'm a defensive guy at heart, so I always thought quarterbacks. But look at the coverage here. Both receivers are double covered. They do a deep out crossing routes, well coached, well covered, and then you get targeting, which is going to possibly, if it's targeting, is going to lead to an ejection and a 15-yard penalty.
And this is not a UIW defense that is necessarily as deep as they have been over the last couple of years. And I will mention, too, the job that Jim Gush has done as Clint Killow's defensive coordinator has been remarkable. He has really turned things around for this program over the last couple of years. Not that they were necessarily bad in the times where they were making playoff runs in 2021 and 2022. Of course, they went to the FCS semifinals, but he has flipped things in a big way where they've become one of the elite pass rushing and tackles for loss defenses.
Personal foul, targeting, defense number 10. Number 10 has been disqualified. The 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the previous spot. It's first down.
Mathis, who is a redshirt senior from Dallas, is disqualified for the game. Coach, you have your first W in the targeting column as far as guessing this year, but either way, I think you described it pretty well, and obviously that one hurts Mathis, and you know Jim Gush isn't going to be happy about that.
No, that's true. The thing I don't like about the targeting call is they need to come up with a formula like they do in hockey where you go to the penalty box, because some people, depending on when you get the foul, you lose a half of football. Well, in this case, this young man's going to lose 3/4 and more of football. So the foul, which is targeting I get, he should only lose 30 minutes of a football game, in my humbled opinion.
He's in his 4th year with the UIW program after a year at Sam Houston. Ball on the 26. Screen pass, A.J. Wilson. And he jets his way down near the 15-yard line. Tyler Morton, the tackle. Morton's a preseason All-American, but he's going up against a lot of speed on the outside of A after a gain of 11 there. Here's Henry. And not a lot of room to run between the tackles that time.
Nice job by the defense. I call it toes to the heels. Those linebackers coming downhill. Everybody's in their gap. They got their toes to the heel of the defensive lineman, so there's no seams for Henry to run in.
McCown on a drop-off. That's his tight end, Thomas, who lunges to the 10.
Nice job of running to the football here. Comes out on a naked, dumps it off to the tight end, to Thomas. Really good job by that defense running to the football and preventing any type of a gain. Look at him come back. Watch him come back to the running game now with Henry.
They fake the handoff. McCown rolling and looking and fires along the sideline. That's complete to McEwen with a flag. Shoved out of bounds around the 8.5, 9-yard line.
The official has his head off. Generally speaking, that's a sign of where he stepped out of bounds before he caught the ball.
Yeah.
Illegal touching. Offense, number 1, went out of bounds on his own and was the first to touch the pass. Penalties lost the down at the previous spot. It'll be third down.
That's a nice way of saying illegal touching is you stepped out of bounds before the ball. You see he's rolling out, his right foot there, steps out of bounds, tries to sneak it back in there and catch the ball and get his 2 feet in, which was really clever on his part, but very good job of officiating and catching that.
It cannot be the first one to touch the ball if you had stepped out of bounds. First third down that UTSA has faced on this drive. It's 3rd and 7. They can get first and goal around the 3. It's Henry, and he falls down inside the 10. Very short gain that time. Dune Smith, 7th-year grad student, who's on his 3rd stop in 7 years of college football, makes the tackle, and a field goal coming up for UTSA.
Nice job by Warren and Smith getting downhill. Henry tried to cut the ball back, and they were sitting there waiting for him. Nice job of making the tackle. He was trying to cut and slipped on the turf.
Michael Petro, walk-on kicker, will try from 27 yards. He did make a field goal from 36 week 1 against A&M. And this one is up and through, and UTSA has points on their first couple of drives of this game. Inside 5.5 to go in the first quarter, 10-0 UTSA in front. 10-0 UTSA leads it. Late stages of the first quarter. There's Clint Killough. He's in his 3rd season as UIW's head coach. 21-6 record. Last year he was the Southland Conference Coach of the Year. This is his first head coaching job anywhere. And he's actually in his 10th season with the UIW program because he played for UIW from 2013 to 2015. Worked his way up from a grad assistant to a quality control coach to a wide receivers coach to now being the head man after replacing G.J. Kinney in the 2022 season. That was when UIW went all the way to the FCS semifinals, longest run the programs have had. But you know, it's one thing to build the program, and that you can credit laying the foundation the way Eric Morris did is down in North Texas. G.J. Kinney, that great season 2022, who Clint Killough coached under both of them. But he has continued it, and they've now been ranked for 56 straight weeks in the Stats Perform FCS Top 25.
Yeah, I think, you know, he got a Corvette.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, return team, number 11. The penalties half the distance to the goal, first down.
That doesn't help out when you get a penalty on a kickoff, and now you're at another disadvantage here.
This team's not doing them any favors with the penalties early, so that'll back them up. You can see that North Dakota State, South Dakota State, who have split the last 4 FCS national titles, and then Montana and Montana State, the only 4 FCS teams who have a longer active streak in the FCS Stats Perform Top 25. Run game going nowhere that time for UIW.
Simple little inside zone play. Defensive linemen just doing an unbelievable job at keeping their gap, holding their gap. Linebackers coming downhill. There's absolutely no place to run there.
This job, of course, means a whole lot to Clint Killough, who starred at MacArthur. He's a San Antonio native. He was their starting quarterback for 3 years. Realized if he wanted to see the field in college, he had to convert to a wide receiver, which he did. Along the sideline, that's complete. And that's Jamison Garcia, who came alive in a big way in their last game. They had a bye week last week, 2 weeks ago, against Eastern Washington. How about 6 catches for 146, including a 75-yard score? Torres with pressure, and he guns one to the sideline, which is complete to Chaden James. Big hit made out in space by K.K. Meyer, the corner. Gain of 7.
Nice job of Torres there. Both throws, he shows his accuracy and his arm strength. More importantly, his accuracy. He's got to continue to do that to move this team down the field.
San Antonio kid, again, he went to Southside, where he starred here in San Antonio on a screen. And there's a flag down with a nice run here after the catch by Isaiah Champagne, the true freshman from Cecilia, Louisiana. Shad Banks the tackle, but again, flag down right about the area where the ball was caught. And this is going against UIW.
Illegal formation, offense, more than 4 players in the backfield. Number 54 was in the backfield. 5-yard penalty, replay, second down.
So that negates what would have been an 18-yard gain.
It's really disappointing because Key was lined up too far in the backfield on that one on a screen pass. It was a very well-designed play on the fly sweep. Brought the linebacker in motion with them, and they threw it back to the screen to the backside, and Key lined up in the backfield.
And you saw Champagne grimacing with his arm. Remember, their star All-American wide receiver Jalen Walthall out today with a shoulder injury. They can't afford to also go down to Champagne, their star freshman. Torres swings it out in the flat, and that's a beautiful hit in space by Davin Martin, knocking down Jalen Spears, who transferred in after 4 years at Nichols. He was the Southland Player of the Year back in 2023 with Spears.
Nice job taking the easy throw, good catch. You see Martin come up on there, nice shoestring tackle, wraps the ankles up. Tackling is a part of effort, courage, and you got to wrap body parts. And his body part there was the ankle to keep a no gainer here.
The UIW's missed on its first 2 third downs. They need the 33. Torres against a 3-man rush. Pressure coming. There's a flag. He finds Garcia, who is drilled to the turf by Shad Banks. Boy, he doesn't mess around when he levels the boomstick. And the officials talking in the backfield.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 94. 15-yard penalty be added to the end of the run. first down.
So that goes on Kenny Ozawala, redshirt freshman from San Antonio, a local kid out of Reagan High, who had his first career sack in the fourth quarter last week.
I'll tell you what, though. The throw, he's getting pulled by the face mask, throws it downside here, okay? You see the great catch by Garcia. Banks comes in, lowers the boom, and knocks him butt over tin kettle there. But he pops back up, which I like to see. And now they're moving the field. They're getting some momentum here. We can't have any penalties. They got to keep their head, keep their composure, and move this ball down the football field.
UTSA defensive coordinator Jess Lepp couldn't rave enough to us about Shad Banks and what he's meant to this defense. Torres, a clean pocket. He'll air it out. Looking long for Garcia, and that is picked off by Davin Martin. There is a flag, but Davin Martin comes away with the football. Would be his first career interception.
The ruling on the field is an interception, illegal formation, offense, more than 4 players in the backfield. That penalty is declined. First down, UTSA.
Redshirt sophomore from Houston gets his first career pick.
The first thing that happens here is Key's back in the backfield again. He's worried about the speed pass rush, and then quarterback throws it back up in the air. The accuracy isn't there. Martin does a nice job of high pointing the football and bringing it inside. When you get in a situation like this, okay, Garcia's got to do everything, and he's got to turn himself into being a defensive back and try to strip that football.
Torres had turnover problems in week 0 against Nichols. They played back on August 23rd. They lost 20-6. Torres threw 3 interceptions in that game, including a pick 6. Did not turn the ball over against Eastern Washington a week ago. Robert Henry next to Owen McCown from the 4. And Henry will get about a yard, maybe a little bit more. UIW's rush defense partner so far this year has been pretty good. They're 9th in FCS football, allowing about 86 rush yards a game. But this is a different kind of task when you're going up against that man.
That's absolutely true. The thing they're doing a really nice job of, I keep pounding my chest about, is the D-line is holding their gaps. The linebackers are getting downhill with it. There's not a whole lot of place for Henry to run to.
As we say that, he breaks loose to the outside. And Henry is out of bounds near the 30. A call him out of the 27-yard line. Tyler Morton shoved him out of bounds on a gain of 21.
Nice job of hesitation. Really good block. Excellent block by Dan Dishman, the tight end. Springs him outside. He bounces out to the C gap, which is between the tackle and the tight end there. You see Dishman's block, and then you see his acceleration.
Now you see how he's averaging more than 10 yards a pop this year. From the 27, McCown with time. Rainbows it downfield. Incomplete, looking for McEwen, but a flag. He was covered by Chris Pierce, one of the safeties for UIW.
I think they're going to get Pierce on a pass interference here with his right hand.
That would have been a spectacular catch.
Defense, number 4, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Pierce is a senior from Glen Heights, Texas. That'll be a 15-yard penalty.
They want to go take a shot here. He rolls into the thing, but you see his arm grab the shoulder of the receiver. Receiver almost comes down with an unbelievable catch, one-handed catch.
Tell you what, we've seen Devin McEwen make some spectacular plays. Nearly added that one to the highlight reel. Inside 90 seconds to go in this opening quarter. 10-0 UTSA looking to build on the lead. This is Henry looking for a little crease. He's out across the 45.
Nice patient runner. Takes a little hop step there, lets it develop, and then bursts inside here. What Incarnate Word has to do right now is they're getting behind in this football game for 2 reasons: penalties and takeaways, okay? And you know what? When you have +2 in turnover margin, you got an 80% chance of winning. That's what UTSA is doing right now. Plus the penalties are really hurting Incarnate Word.
You saw what Henry's doing of late. 4 straight games of 150 or more rush yards. Here he is, and he's stuffed. He's also had 4 straight games with a rush of 75 yards or more as Dune Smith comes up again from his weak side linebacker spot and stuffs it. Some help from Jeremiah Young.
Really nice job by Smith. Smith was going to game time decision whether he was going to play or not. You see that brace on his shoulder. He didn't practice much this week because of the injury. He's a really good football player. That kid's got good instincts and vision.
He's battled injuries his entire career. Had a meniscus. He's had 4 knee surgeries in total, dating back to his time at Pitt in Southern Illinois. They'll snap it one more time before the end of the quarter. That ball stripped from McCown, and UIW's got it.
Beautiful job there. They come in with their speed package for the rush. You see right there, Michael P. strips the football, comes up inside. Big turnover there with Declan Williams. Excellent job on their part. Here comes the pressure up the middle. Sees the long arm come out, strips the ball, and then they recover the football. Big takeaway.
They're rolling on the field.
The previous play, the game clock actually expired before the snap got off from UTSA's center Ben Rios. So Owen McCown and the fumble there is irrelevant considering the quarter had technically already come to a close.
Yeah, UTSA came smelling like a rose there. Personally, we talked about this. We both have never seen this before. But right there you see the double zeros. The center still has his hands on the football. The ball is not moving yet. So it was an excellent call by the officiating crew.
The game clock expired prior to the previous snap. It'll be UTSA ball, 3rd down and 8.
And for those wondering, well, Ben Rios, the center, was moving the ball backwards. That is irrelevant. You have to actually get the snap off toward the quarterback. It's almost like a shot in basketball being taken. The ball has to be in the air by the time the clock expires. Now, Clint Killough is not happy at all, and rightfully so, but Jeff Traylor's bunch dodges some disaster there.
Yeah, I agree with you about the point about they got out of disaster. Coaches arguing about nothing because the clock is the clock. One thing I would disagree with is when they snap the ball and that ball starts moving, the defensive line is allowed to move with the ball to snap.
Right.
So technically, the ball is not out of his hands when they're allowed to move to initiate the play. However, in that situation there, it was definitely on zero. The center definitely had his hand on the ball, and it did not move.
Either way, 3rd and 8. And they need the 48 of UIW to move the chains. McCown, and a big-time hit on Will Henderson Jr. from Kendrick Stone, the safety. He's their leading tackler coming in. 9 tackles per game in their first 2 outings. And UIW's defense give them a lot of credit to force another punt.
Kendrick Stone is my favorite player for UIW. This young man has got it all. He's got range, he's got speed, he's got toughness, nice tackle, saw his instincts, dissected the screen, came up and made a beautiful tackle to initiate this punt.
So first punt of the day for Cale Hogan. He was actually 9th in the FBS in punting average this year, but that's not always a good thing because net punting wise he's towards the bottom of the country. This one lands softly around the 2, and that takes a beautiful UTSA bounce and dies right there like a lob wedge on a soft green.
Beautiful thing I like about this young man on these 2 punts here is the hang time is incredible. You know, that ball, it looks like it's going to hit the roof of the dome here.
55-yard punt. Jermarius Lewis got all the way down there to down it. He came back from injury to return last week, one of their defensive backs, and so UIW's offense will have to go 96 yards to try to strike pay dirt now.
I'm kind of curious to see what kind of tempo he comes out with here. I know it's the start of the 2nd quarter, but they're down 10 right now. They're backed up. Curious to see what kind of tempo he comes out with, because remember, he wanted to go super racer fast.
Well, they haven't had much of a rushing presence so far. See if they can get the ground game going. They'll get a little bit of breathing room as Harlan Dixon plunges ahead for a couple.
Nice job by the defensive front. Ben Olson, the defensive line coach. Well, he was getting after his guys before the game. Right now, they're doing a nice job with the front, and they are going tempo, Jack.
Torres to the sideline. That's incomplete. Looking for Garcia. Davin Martin was the closest man out in coverage, but really the first poor throw we've seen from Torres.
I was going to say that was on the first inaccurate throw, which is uncharacteristic of this young man.
So 3rd down and 8. Again, their average distance to go has been nearly 8 yards.
Okay, here comes the substitution. They're coming in with their speed package as far as personnel. They're in what we call 10 personnel right now, which means they got the 1 back in there, but there's no tight ends.
They need the 15. Play clock was running down, and they'll have to burn a timeout.
Timeout, UIW. That's their first. It'll be 30 seconds.
I think what got them there, Jack, was they substituted too late. And the clock they made the decision to go with their 10 personnel. By the time they substituted, got it set, the clock was running down. So it was actually a very good timeout used so they don't get penalized.
Clint Killough, not only is he 32 years of age, one of the youngest head coaches in FCS or FBS Division I football, but he's also calling plays himself for the first time. Remember, he had a guy by the name of Connor McQueen who was right around his age. Those two were together at UIW for a couple of years, and McQueen was the offensive coordinator the last couple of seasons when they had Zach Calzada under center, who transferred to Kentucky. Connor McQueen is now working for Pete Carroll with the Las Vegas Raiders. Pete Carroll, the oldest head coach in NFL history at 73. He turned 74 on Monday. He hires a 32-year-old from Incarnate. Go figure.
Go figure. He also hired a 40-year-old Luke Steckel, my nephew, as the tight end coach.
I was about to bring that up too. Torres, meanwhile, miscommunication with his wide receiver in Zach Mitchell. It just floats incomplete along the sideline. So you'll have rooting interest in the Raiders this year, keeping an eye on them.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, they talk about Bowers and Mayer, two great tight ends for the Oakland Raiders, but oh, by the way, they got a hell of a football coach. Obviously, I got to brag about my nephew.
Nice week 1 win for them, coach, in New England against the Patriots on the road.
Sure was.
Ryan Schamberger will punt with his heels near the back of the end zone.
Can't take a step back if you're the punter. You got to always step forward when you're back up there like that.
Good hang time, but a very, very short kick, and McEwen fields it inside the 40 of UIW. So UTSA with terrific field position for its next drive after only a 34-yard punt. The Roadrunners off and running early against their crosstown mates, UIW. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. A sunny Saturday in San Antonio. The Alamo. A lot of fans have made their way indoors because, yeah, it is a little bit toasty outside today. 92 degrees. You wouldn't know it in here. We're pretty nice and comfy.
We are, but it's heating up down on the football field here, Jack. Got Henderson back in at tailback now.
UTSA starts this drive at the 39 after a very short punt. And there's A.J. Wilson taking off, and he's out of bounds with a gain of 12. Now, Wilson knows this UIW defense very well. He spent 3 years at Houston Christian, which is in the Southland Conference with UIW.
Right now they got a little bubble screen, but look at the blocking on the perimeter there. And an unbelievable pancake block by McCoy. Taking it down there, nice first down, moving the chains, quick release. The blocking there was outstanding.
Injured player for UIW is Drew Merrill, one of their safeties, a senior from Chino Hills, California, in his second year with the program. Fresh set of downs from the 28. Wilson goes in motion. McCown swings it to him. And Wilson sheds a tackler, and gets down inside the 25.
Nice job of getting some yards there. Defensively, they actually did a nice job with the triangle, but there was a burst by Wilson, and my man Williams just couldn't get after him until 4 yards down the field.
Well, A.J. Wilson last year at HCU, I mentioned he played in the Southland. He ended the season on a tear. His last 4 games, 572 receiving yards. That goes to 143 per game. Swing pass, McEwen. And a touchdown on a screen earlier. This time he spins right near the first down line to gain. He would have enough if it stands, but there's a flag.
They're going to get a holding call here, Jack, and I think they're going to get the holding call because on the last play on the screen, coach was complaining about getting a holding call. A little makeup call here.
There is no foul for holding on the play.
Or not.
Wow, they picked up the flag. That's amazing.
Jim Gush can't believe it.
I didn't know if his gum come flying out of his mouth or a tooth. Or he lose a tooth.
I think it did. The gum of Jim Gush.
I don't think I've ever seen that before, man, where you pick up a holding call where it was right there in front of the official.
He's a 66-year-old football lifer. I don't know how many times he's seen that as Jim Gush. Henry on the inside run. They stack him up. And you can tell what the emphasis of this UIW defense is, trying not to let number 3 beat them. Now that does open up other things, but what have you been impressed by with their run D so far?
I think the run defense is being a really good job by the defensive front. Defensive front is extending. They're getting off blocks. You got the linebackers Smith and Williams coming downhill, wrapping up on the tackles. They got to do a much better job in the C gap outside the tackle because that's where Johnson's getting his runs from. Here comes the motion with the tight end in there. They're in 21 personnel.
A little toss pass, and that is the tight end Dan Dishman. So they flip it to him, and he is right near a goal-to-go situation.
That was a well-designed play because what happened on that was they ran like they were running counter sweep to the weak side with a tight end following through where he puts a little shovel pass inside. The quarterback is riding 2 running backs. They're in 21 personnel. Here comes the tight end in motion, gets a little shovel pass up inside. And with that motion with the backs coming out is what took the linebackers out. And then they come up here with the old Philadelphia Eagles tush push. They call it tush push, man, but it's really just a quarterback sneak.
Tush push, brotherly shove, QB sneak, whatever you want to call it. They used that against Texas State last week as well. They needed about 1.5 yards, so it wasn't the shortest distance to do it from. And this is going to be a 4th down situation. And they didn't get a whole lot of leverage at the line of scrimmage at all there. And UIW's got a chance to get off the field here. It's a very short situation, but again, UTSA has struggled this year on 4th down, just 2 of 7.
Well, they spread them out to come up inside. They threw a little quick bubble screen over there.
There's McEwen, and he's got the 1st down, and he's got 1st and goal.
Very interesting call. They spread it out, went to the bunch to the field there, thought they were going to run an inside zone, throws a quick little bubble outside, grabs the ball. Again, look at the blocking on the perimeter. My man Tisdale, who's usually a pretty good tackler, comes up, misses a tackle, and they get the 1st down.
So 1st and goal at the 3 for UTSA. McEwen had the receiving TD earlier on the screen pass. They bring a fullback in now with Henry in the I formation. It is Henry working his way over the right side, lunges to the goal line, and he stretched it just shy. So he's down about the 1-inch line, inside the 1.
Very interesting situation there. They're in what's called 14 personnel. 1 tight end, one back, and 4 tight ends. And they use the other tight end as a fullback situation there. And they just ran the old-fashioned ISO play off tackle.
Yeah, they've used James Wally, one of their inside linebackers, as a fullback these last couple weeks. In the eye again. And before the 9th play of the drive, a whistle.
The previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field is the runner was short of the goal line.
Take a look, Jack, see where we end up here with this.
Watch the stretch.
Come up in there, nice little hole, good little block.
Tell you what, if there's not a look at the knee being down, he stretched it across, but
well, that umpire's shoulder's in the way there. His forearm might have hit first.
Now
on the back side there. Here's a good view here.
I mean, that's a tough one too. You really can't really see where the.
It looks like his forearm's actually down to me before the ball crosses.
The ball is across there. The question would have to be the left side of his body, and I don't know that you can conclusively say is that left knee down?
Well,
just prior, I
left
don't.
knee could be down, but to me it looks like the left arm is down.
I think either way, our point here is the left side of his body is what had to be down because the right side is across without it touching the turf. Now again, if you're simultaneously hitting your elbow while the ball is crossing the plane, that's a touchdown.
This might be a great view here.
Robert Henry has rushed for 8 touchdowns over the previous 4 games. He's got 4 straight
his arm
games.
is on the guy's calf. You see that?
That's what I was seeing.
His left arm is on the guy's calf. That could possibly be a touchdown.
What I was going to say is 4 straight games of multiple touchdown runs for Robert Henry Jr.
There's great camera work right there. Yeah, his left arm is on that young man's calf. I need this to be a touchdown so I can at least be 2 for 4 and get to 50%.
Henry, if this is overturned, would have a 5th touchdown in the young season and a 9th in his past 5 games dating back to the final 2 of last season, which came against North Texas and Temple. Remember, he did not play in their final 2 games due to ankle injuries last year. He was on their plane ride back to San Antonio from Army after their regular season finale, and he was thinking his career was over.
The ruling on the field was changed. Touchdown.
And they do change it. It is a touchdown. And Robert Henry Jr. finds the end zone once again. So that last stretch and that strength of Henry gets himself in for 6 more. And all UTSA in this second quarter, 16-0.
That was the most beautiful 1-yard run going on, boy. The way he stretched out, got across the body, good push from the inside line and the tight ends. Excellent job.
Michael Petro for the point after, and that's away and through. Enjoyed talking this week to Justin Burke, the offensive coordinator for UTSA. He said, you know, this guy might be the most unique running back I've coached. Well, he can do a lot of special things, and he knows how to find the end zone. 17-0 UTSA.
College Football Playoff begins December 19th and concludes with the National Championship January 19th on ESPN.
Excited for that to happen. Of course, the 12-team playoff, all the drama building. The American is hoping that they'll be having a representative in there in some way. Robert Henry Jr. in the end zone at 17-0 UTSA. How about you look at this conference? South Florida, back-to-back ranked wins to start the season. They have another chance against a ranked Miami team this week. What a job Alex Goll is just doing over there in Tampa.
Fantastic job. He's going down to Hurricane Alley. And then you got Tulane in the American Conference, who's doing an excellent job. Plays Duke tonight. So there's a lot of good things can happen for this American Conference.
Entering the week, they had a number of unbeaten teams. There's a flag down on the return from Chaden James.
2 flags down on the field. Either we're seeing a whole bunch of flags because of undiscipline or a whole bunch of flags because the officials want to be part of the game.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 12. Penalties half the distance to the goal. First down.
So that is UIW's 5th penalty for now what's going to be 45 yards. And that is not helping them against a UTSA defense that has been locked in from the jump.
That's part of the hidden keys I always talk to people about when I coached and while we do these TV shows and stuff, because people don't realize the penalty yardage that you can lose. Right now they're at 45 yards. That's a lot of yardage.
Dixon is drilled right near the goal line by Kenny Ozawalu.
Ozawalu does a nice job of coming right off the edge, bends to the ball, wraps up, and that was very close to being a safety. They got to be careful down here on the 1-yard line.
4-yard loss. They go shotgun out of their own end zone, and Dixon breaks a tackle. He's back to the initial line of scrimmage plus a yard, and it makes it 3rd down and 9.
Dixon's one of their bigger backs. They can get some good body lean here. They got it out past the 5-yard line, which helps their punting situation if they don't get the first down here.
Torres screen pass to Garcia, blown up, ball's loose. UTSA's got it. Now the question is going to be, is it officially a catch? But UTSA's got themselves another takeaway. It's Shad Banks delivering a boom again.
Second big hit on that young man today. Banks coming inside out and making the play here. Garcia comes in, catches the ball, makes a football move. I think that's a turnover personally.
Personal foul, illegal block below the waist. Offense number 9. That penalty is declined. The ruling on the field is a catch and a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, UTSA.
So Jermarius Lewis is going to get credit for forcing that fumble on Garcia. Lewis, who had 4 tackles in his season debut last week, has his first career, actually second career forced fumble at UTSA. And Banks, Johnny on the spot as he often is, has his second turnover in as many weeks. Had a pick last week.
And they got a turnover on the 4-yard line going in. This isn't the start that coach wanted for Incarnate Word, that's for sure. We talked about it in the open about how they got to protect the football, and it has not been protected tonight. This is the 3rd turnover, and as you turn the ball over, your percentage of losing goes down and down and down.
From the 4, first down and goal, UTSA looking to stretch a 17-0 lead.
I can easily see him feeding old Robert Henry.
Well, they fake it to Henry, and they've got a wide open Dan Dishman for the touchdown. His 2nd catch of the season, his 5th career receiving score, and all UTSA here in this 2nd quarter of the Alamo Dome, 23-0 over UIW.
Way too easy. Way too easy. They even got me thinking they're going to run the football. Little thing, he hesitates, comes right up the seam. Nice little Y hesitation. Beautiful throw by McCowan, touchdown. And everybody heard the band was playing.
Petro, point after, good again.
You know, the one thing that's jumping out my mind when we talked to Coach before the game, how they had a big parade and banquet. He felt like the redheaded stepchild. Well, he's coming out here and he's making a statement with his Roadrunner fans.
A lot of smiles on that UTSA sideline right now. A little more than 8 to go in this first half. 24-0 UTSA in front. Dan Dishman just caught his first touchdown of the season and the 5th of his career. You can see our game summary so far. It has been one-sided. A couple of turnovers for UIW. 3 times in 5 drives UTSA has started in UIW territory, including this past one, which they capitalized on the Dishman TD, which Coach Steck has a little breakdown of.
They show the zone read here, which got me myself. You see the tight end right here. They come down, they're gonna fake all the linebackers. You watch, they're gonna come down to stop the run on Henry. Little fake block there by Dishman, slips out, completely wide open. You see the defensive back, Morton. He's got him man-to-man. His eyes were in the backfield, just like Coach Steck's was. And it's a simple little pass for the touchdown.
So UIW after the touchback to the 25. They really need to get something going here. And a whistle pre-snap.
Timeout. UTSA, that's their first. It'll be 30 seconds.
I believe I did a really quick count there, Jack. I'm pretty sure they had 12 guys on the field, so they caught it and call a timeout.
I was thinking you were going to say 12, so they'll talk things over. Jess Lepp is the defensive coordinator from UTSA. Enjoyed chatting with him this week. You know, they obviously these first couple weeks have not been easy. The offenses they've gone up against, you got Marcel Reed and Casey Concepcion and Chris Craver and A&M in week 1, and then you go up against a G.J. Kinney Texas State offense in week 2 that certainly hit a lot of big plays. 4 plays of 50 or more yards allowed by his secondary. The penalties were costly. And look, they're replacing 11 starters on defense. That's not easy to do. This is the kind of game where they're hoping they can get right. Good start so far.
very good start so far. But they had a couple bust coverages. They have young kids back in the back end there and created a lot of big plays.
Screen pass, Chaden James makes one man miss. You can see the shiftiness of him. And he is out across the 35-yard line with a gain of 12 yards. James, who transferred in from Fresno State after 2 years at Idaho State. And there's an injured
timeout.
UTSA Roadrunner.
Injury of a member of the defense.
Yeah, Coach was talking about how James is a one-on-one nightmare there. Nice job of blocking on the perimeter. Gets the ball, makes 3 people miss, and gets a first down. The other thing, if you go back and look at, you see Torres' arm strength just to flick it out there from the hash all the way out to the boundary.
That
very impressive.
Sorry to cut you off, Coach. That looked like Owen Pee-wee, who was down for UTSA, and he is a valuable player on this defense. It's possible it was friendly fire, too, as the staff attends to him. Now, this is a defense that has already lost one of their key players in Cam Cooper.
Yeah, it was definitely friendly fire, and you see the fire came from, which we always coach on defense, is you cannot duck your eyes. 26 comes in there, his eyes are down, he lunges for the tackle, and he hits his own man instead of James.
Yeah, that might have actually been Brandon Jacob Jr. We are trying to confirm a number. Yeah, that was, I thought for a second it was 2, and now it was 21. So.
26, Bryce Grays, ducked his head and eyes.
Yeah, Brandon Jacob Jr., beg your pardon, not Owen Pee-wee, but the sophomore from Orlando who is seeing some action at safety here today.
Orlando, put it down my stomping grounds.
A lot of good football in that state.
There sure is. Bunch of very impressive, skilled athletes out of Florida.
There's a reason why Jeff Traylor's got 8 Florida kids on his roster. That is the most players from one state outside of 10. Now they've got 83 players from Texas, which is about 70% of their roster, but the second most populated state in the roster, Florida. No surprise.
That's impressive that they come down there to the state of Florida to recruit, because I recruited this state, Texas, here for 12 years, and it's very impressive with the high school coaching and talent in the state of Texas.
So UIW, who has 13 yards in the quarter, just got 12 of it on that last screen pass to Chaden James. Again, they are without their All-American wide receiver, Jalen Walthall, who last year was a Walter Payton Award finalist, basically the FCS version of the Heisman. And he had a UIW record with nearly 1,300 receiving yards and 14 scores. They go on the ground to Tim Carter, and there's just been no run game to support Torres. That's part of the problem right now for UIW. 8 rushes that have totaled negative yardage, -6 yards.
Nice job with Banks coming up over top. Fundamentally sound with his shoulders.
Torres to Carter. And he's taken down to the turf around the 45.
That's really good by Torres. He's always trying to hit the home run. Nice job there taking the check down, getting 7 yards. The old saying, you don't go broke if you make a profit. Just gained 7 yards. Now it makes a third manageable here for him.
They haven't had a lot of these in terms of third down and short. As we're under the midway point of this second quarter. 24-0 UTSA. Jeff Traylor, in his time as UTSA's head coach, 4-0 against FCS opponents, and hasn't been particularly close against any of them. Empty set, 4 wide for Torres. And movement pre-snap.
Another penalty. There's my man.
False start. Offense, number 54. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
That is on Chantrell Key. He's in his second year with the program after stops at Grambling in Arizona.
Chantrell, man, he's having a rough day at the office today. Been in the backfield a couple times, a couple false starts. He's got to take a deep breath, get his focus back here. And they put him in a third and long situation.
6 penalties for 45 yards. That's going to be hard to get it done on the road against an FBS team if you're UIW.
Kind of smile when you say on the road. They only came 3.5 miles.
Motion man's the tight end low. Handed off to Carter. Nothing doing. In fact, he lost yardage again.
Tried to pop one on a split zone here. They brought the tight end over in motion, came across, back went the opposite way. Excellent job by the front.
John Jones makes the stop, redshirt senior from Dallas. He's on his 4th school in 5 years, 2nd year at UTSA, and another punt upcoming for Ryan Schamberger. Last one only went 34 yards, but he was punting from his end zone. Devin McEwen awaits. Schamberger gets it off cleanly. Great hang time on it. And McEwen has the fair catch right at the 25. So with 5:38 to go in this first half, 24-0 UTSA in front. Jeff Traylor's team trying to get into the win column for the first time in 2025. And this is a guy who has done a whole lot of winning, dating back to his days at Gilmer High School. He won 3 state titles, appeared in 5 state championship games there. The special teams coordinator at Texas for a couple of years, SMU in Arkansas under Chad Morris, and in 2020 took over at UTSA. He's the 2-time coach of the year, 2 conference titles, and 5 straight bowl games, back-to-back bowl wins. Will Henderson tries to bounce it outside. He finds a little bit of running room, and he's down at the 30.
Excellent speed and bounce, taking the ball all the way outside. My guy that I'm in love with, Kendrick Stone, because it does a nice job of coming up over top, makes a nice tackle there. Getting back to Jeff Traylor, he is a good ball coach. We recruited his school at Gilmer. We had a couple of his players. My man Braylon Webb was one of my great safeties that played for me at Mizzou. He's a really good football coach, high school and college.
DJ Allen breaks a couple tackles. He'll make it 3rd down and short. Of course, one of Jeff Traylor's earliest stops was at Jacksonville High School, where he coached 3 McCown brothers by the name of Randy, Luke, and Josh. And those 3 guys all turned out to be pretty good ball players. Randy, of course, played at A&M, won a Big 12 title for them, the last conference title for A&M back in 1998. Josh, the dad of who Jeff's current quarterback is, Owen McCown, longtime NFL vet, played for 12 different teams in 18 years, and Luke played 12 years in the NFL as well. They sneak it on 3rd and short, needing only about a yard, and they got it to move the chains.
Yeah, Owen probably gets in conflict because his dad's a heck of a football coach now with the Minnesota Vikings and coaching J.J. McCarthy. I'm sure that Owen is probably like a sponge around that, learning from his pop, and it's a great resource.
J.J. McCarthy put together quite the 4th quarter display in that win over the Bears. Comeback on Monday Night Football. So Josh has to be feeling pretty good. He's got to be feeling good about his son, who's completed 11 straight passes, as Will Henderson is out across the 40. How about McCown in this game so far, partner? He is 15 for 16.
He's doing a really nice job. And the only the one that was incomplete was a pass interference. And who knows where that would have taken him.
Inside 3.5 to go in this opening half. UTSA trying to add to its 24-0 lead. McCown against pressure, and that one behind a curling Devin McEwen. And they call that the old announcer jinx, right? 11 straight completions and comes to a close just like that.
Yeah, you blew it on, but he got pressure up in his face. It was a really tight split by the X. You knew he was going to go on a drag route across the formation. They designed it well because they had a screen coming off of it with a crack block by the Z receiver.
UTSA 3 of 6 on 3rd down. They need the 46. They send Henderson in motion. McCown slant caught McEwen, and he tumbles down near midfield. So he bounces back after just his 2nd incompletion with a beautiful rifle to McEwen.
Nice job. They go slant on the backside. It's outside man coverage. When the first slant goes across the face, it opens a nice little seam for Owen to get it in there. Beautiful catch, beautiful throw, and obviously the 1st down completion.
4th grab for McEwen for 32 yards. He's also got a touchdown. They send Wilson in motion. Henderson tripped up. Good job by Dune Smith, who got his ankles in the backfield. And he was finished off by Joe Cadet. There was a grad transfer from Houston Christian, another Southland intra-conference transfer for Clint Killow and for Jim Gush's defense. So that'll wind us down to the 2-minute timeout with UTSA on top 24-zip and looking to tack on some more points before the end of the first half. They'll face a second down and 7 when we come back. All Roadrunners so far here in San Antonio. Now, Robert Henry Jr., who came in as the FBS leading rusher in terms of yards per game, averaging 168 per on the ground for the first two. 10 for 58 today, does have a touchdown, his 5th of the season. UTSA, meanwhile, story of the game, 14 points off 3 UIW turnovers, and they're up 24-0. Just at the 2-minute timeout, UTSA back to work. From the 48, McCown swings it, and that is DJ Allen. He is shoved out of bounds by Declan Williams. He's a senior from Hamilton, Texas, and some pushing and shoving after the whistle. UIW sideline not happy.
They're not happy, but Chris Pierce got to get it under control a little bit over there. Little extracurricular, and my guy Williams over there gives us the palms up. Oh, there's a little extra right there, jumping over like, I'm not doing anything. DJ gives him a flip, then they come in, the old butt chest. DJ Allen gives the palms up. What did I do?
Williams, a preseason All-American for UIW. They had 7 preseason All-Americans, most of any team in the FCS. They were preseason number 4 in the FCS polls. Lost to Nichols week 0, beat Eastern Washington week 1 by last week. McEwen, and that's not going anywhere. That'll be a loss, actually, of a couple. Good job of pursuit by UIW that time.
It was. Tisdale made a nice job, but the guy who made this play here is Tyler Morton.
UIW.
He comes running
Please
down here up the inside out.
To a minute
Good little
and
bumps there.
47 seconds. 147. Thank you.
Tyler Morton
That's their
start that
second,
play,
it'll be 30
making them go
seconds.
east and west. Tisdale finished it off.
Mentioned that there are 7 preseason All-Americans on UIW. Tyler Morton's one of them for this Jim Gush defense. Speak about a guy who's a football lifer. We were talking about him earlier. 66 years young. He's been an assistant coach or defensive coordinator at a number of spots. North Texas most recently, prior to UIW, where he's in his 3rd year. He was the McNeese DC. He's been the head coach of a couple of JUCOs. He was at Baylor, actually, back in the mid-2010s, in 2015 and 2016, when Jeff Traylor was at Texas. So those two got a little bit acquainted going against each other. They also both had to deal with a guy by the name of Patrick Mahomes, who was the quarterback at Texas Tech at the time in the Big 12. Of course, Jeff Traylor went into the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame with Patrick Mahomes this past summer.
He did. Yeah, Jim Gush, he was at Baylor when I was at Mizzou. Fine football coach, worked for Phil Bennett. I think the thing that's really cool, Phil Bennett's a heck of a football coach. And Phil's son, Sam, is the linebacker coach with Coach Gush. So everything goes around full circle.
Owen McCown is going to punt this. It lands perfectly and rolls inside the 10. So how about McCown with a beautiful punt there on 4th down and 6. And they pin UIW right at the 7 on a 41-yard punt by McCown.
Nice little quick kick formation. Gets it down there, pins them back. This is the 3rd time that we're pinned back in our own plus territory coming out. The other thing that's hurting a little bit now is the tempo from Incarnate Word. They're not making progress down the football field. They're not holding the ball. So time of possession is going to have to come into a factor here for the defense for Incarnate Word.
Well, UIW's average field position start, coach, has been the 16th. So they have been backed up in a big way, and penalties have been a big part of that. Torres in this first half, 11 for 15, but only 71 yards and a pick. Hands off to Jalen Spears, who makes one man miss. And he falls down at the 10 on a gain of 3. And then flags afterward. Oh, there's a lot of bodies moving in now. This is not what you want to see. A helmet flew off somebody. Looked like Kyan Roberts-Day, the Baylor transfer, had his helmet fly off. And there was a stack of tacklers. And Roberts-Day now is having his coaching staff just trying to usher him to the sideline. Jess Lepp and Jeff Traylor doing all they can to try to calm him down. And Jeff Traylor's giving him an earful. Roberts-Day is an experienced guy, redshirt junior. Again, 3 years spent at Baylor. Had the only sack of his college career last year.
They got to sort this whole thing out. The one thing I love about Jeff Traylor, he's a disciplinarian. He's an intelligent man, but he doesn't like these foolish penalties that are going on right here. Getting out of hand a little bit, and as usual, you know, after 41 years of coaching, it's never my fault.
And I found it interesting, and that's a good point you make too, Coach. But you know, talking to Jeff Traylor this week, he's so good at putting things in perspective. He told us, when we asked him about the 0-2 start, he said, look, we don't want to ignore the pain, because it hurts losing back-to-back games, especially to 2 in-state schools, especially to their border rivals who they've now lost to back-to-back times in Texas State. But we want to ignore the pain. We don't want to ignore the pain, but we want to ignore the noise. And again, they've only had 2 winning Septembers in his 6 years as head coach. They have gotten off to historically slow starts, especially of late.
Well, that sounds like the Cincinnati Bengals when they talk about their slow start. But the key is that they get better as the season goes on. That's to me, that's one heck of a sign of coaching, is when your players get better. You continue to coach them fundamentally, schematically, and it's really important that they keep getting better.
All right, another look at this last play. You can see the wrestling going on here. Oh, yeah, so that's Travion Newsom, who's an All-American left guard for UIW, knocking the helmet off of Roberts-Day, who took exception to it.
Yeah, he pancaked him, should just ended it there on the block. But as you see, he punched him in the face, probably an injection, especially if they go to the video, which we just saw, and then it went on from there. Then they get into a tussle and a fight, and it's just uncalled for in football.
After the play was over, there were unsportsmanlike conduct fouls on both teams. Unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 70. Unsportsmanlike conduct, defense, number 97 and number 94. That is each player's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul. Those fouls will offset the down counts. It'll be second down.
Now that's a good job by Kevin Randall to get all that across.
It was. But you know, here's my but is my man Newsome looked like he threw a punch, which is, I understand it's unsportsmanlike, I get all that, but I don't understand why he wasn't ejected out of the football game.
And there does seem to be that question of, was it open palm, closed fist, you know, that sort of thing, but there's no question he knocked the helmet off of Roberts Day, which initiated everything. So either way, this is now 2nd down and 7. With 90 seconds to go in this first half, UIW could really use something momentum-wise. Torres, with the pocket collapsing, finds Spears along the sideline, and he is out of bounds the first down.
Nice
One of the
job.
better pass plays today for Torres.
Nice job throwing out in the flat, makes the first guy miss, comes up, gets out of bounds, gets the clock stopped. Nice little 2-minute drill they can go down the field here with.
That's their 3rd longest completion today at 10 yards. Torres to throw again. Pocket collapsing, down he goes. Ozawalu finished him off. Pressure in there all around him, though. He had a lot of help.
Timeout, UTSA.
And Ozawalu's going to sack in
It'll be
back-to-back
30
games.
seconds.
Nice job, inside move. They push the pocket. He steps up inside into the pocket. Ozawalu comes off, wraps up. Nice sack.
He got some help from Damian Wimberly as well, who provided some initial pass rush. But we were talking about Jeff Traylor and slow starts. His first couple of years, not a problem. They started off hot, in fact, 3-0 and 4-0. But that 2021 team, yes, they won a conference title. Outside of that, it's been slow starts for the most part. In fact, you add it up, since 2022, partner, they are 4-10 against FBS teams in September. Against FBS teams the rest of the way since 2022, 21-5. So to your point on closing fast, it's what they've done historically.
It is what they've done historically. The one thing you got to look back on is, you know, a lot of times Group of 5 playing up, you know, or they losses to Texas A&M, Texas, because he is not afraid to play a hard schedule in the month of September, which toughens up his team to make the stretch here down through the American Conference.
For those of you questioning my math, by the way, yes, I know there were more wins than 4 on that chart. A couple of those were FCS wins, so that's why I was mentioning FBS only. And of course, they've had a couple of games in August, which they've won 2. Play clock down to 2 for Torres. Has to get rid of it to the sideline. That was nearly picked. A dangerous throw. Marcellus Wilkerson was right there, and he was inches away from an interception of Torres.
Yeah, Torres steps up in the pocket. Can't really step up and throw it. Definitely not accurate enough. Should have brought that ball in, catch it with his eyes. He would have had a nice, fine little pick there for him.
This is the strength of that UTSA defense. Their linebacking core and their defensive front. And they've had trouble getting pressure as far as a pass rush until today. First couple QBs they went up against had just 1 sack. On 3rd and 17, Torres somehow escapes. Lofts it sideline. That is caught. Oh, what a grab in traffic by Matt Ramirez. Made his season debut against Eastern Washington last time out a couple weeks ago. That's the first catch of his career. And it goes for 22.
It was a big catch. Good pressure. 3-man rush. They come back to a 4-man rush.
Torres, down he goes this time. They'll wave that dead.
Can't take a sack in a 2-minute drill. You cannot take a sack in a 2-minute drill. You lose yardage and time with the clock running.
Timeout, UIW. That's
John
their 3rd.
Jones.
It'll be 30 seconds.
gets the sack. So UTSA, who had 1 sack in its first 2 games, has 2 in this first half of Richard Torres.
Nice pressure, just simple speed to power rush from the outside by Jones. They come in, they wrap it up. Jones is getting the credit, but a lot of the pressure came from inside out. Number 41 coming on the pressure.
First sack of the season for Jones.
My man Jones, he had to have a big game today because we were watching walkthrough yesterday. He was a little late for a second team punt. Coach Traylor let him know about it.
Coach Traylor will let you know, period, if something's not up to par. It's the standard of success that they've got here in San Antonio with this UTSA program. There's UIW and their struggles. The 3 turnovers, we've mentioned those have led to 14 UTSA points. Torres already has 1 interception, nearly had another earlier. 53 seconds left, they're out of timeouts. Torres pumps, and he misses the crosser, Chaden James, who wouldn't have had a lot of yardage, but he would have been able to make it a more manageable 3rd down.
Did a nice little jailbreak screen there. He had lots of room to run with it. Torres threw it a little bit low, and James couldn't come up with it.
James was an All-American at the FCS level at Idaho State a few years back. Spent last year at Fresno State. He only played in 4 games and redshirted. Was preseason All-Mountain West. Torres screen caught. That's Josh Warwick. And their second leading receiver by catches coming in has his first grab of the day. He is the 7th different receiver for Torres as Tyon Milton shoves him out of bounds, and UIW will have to punt once more here in this first half.
Nice little RPO design off the counter action. Just didn't get enough yards coming up the sideline there.
4th punt coming for Ryan Schamberger. He's averaging 39.7 along a 46. And a fair catch waited for by McEwen, who bobbled it momentarily, able to fall on top of it. Again, David Amador is their usual punt return man. So McEwen back there today with Amador sitting out after a 38-yard punt. Ball at the 24. And you figure UTSA 38 seconds. They do have a timeout. If they want to, they could get aggressive, but see how they choose to play this with a 24-point lead, and they do get the ball to start the 3rd quarter as well.
Absolutely. I'd be disappointed if they didn't just take a knee here and go into halftime as they're getting the ball back at half.
Well, this is where you get some reps in, right? With your 2-minute drill, or I guess in this sense, your 38-second drill.
Or it's cushion the stats drill.
See what McCown and the offense have in store. They'll throw it. McCown, and now he tucks and runs. And out of bounds, past the 30. He's out at the 31.
Smart job. Everything's covered, runs out of bounds, and gets the clock started. They're going to try to get down here on a 2-minute drill. Hopefully maybe get in field goal range.
And they do have that timeout in their back pocket. Petro made earlier from 26. So that would mean getting the ball a long ways downfield as McEwen dives for that one around midfield, and they're going to wave it incomplete. Heavy congestion as far as pressure from Matt Cordes, who plays that star position.
Matt Collins does a nice job. He steps up in the pocket. He throws it the only place that the receiver can catch the football. He's got to come up with that one. McEwen's been doing a really nice job all football game. Got to come up with that one. Tight coverage, well thrown ball. Just got to catch it, lock it up in there.
Season long for Petro, by the way, if you're wondering, 36 yards against A&M. They run it. Marion Peterson, and that probably tells you all you need to know about the thought process here.
Timeout.
Michael Ples the stop.
UTSA, that's their 3rd. It'll be 30 seconds.
So they'll take their final timeout with 18 seconds.
See Coach Killo Saw a quick clip of him over on the sideline smiling and laughing, up 24-0. Instead of just taking a knee, they're trying to go get some more points. They keep on playing over there on the UTSA sideline.
The ball's at the 35. If you're doing math on where do you have to get to for a 36-yard field goal, you're talking around the 19-20 yard line. But he did, Petro, who is a walk-on kicker, he did make a 51-yarder as a high school senior at Marcus High School. He's a Flower Mound, Texas native. Again, a walk-on kicker. Jeff Traylor has been open and honest about this. He was not expecting to have a walk-on kicking for him this year, considering Tate Sandell went 19 for 23 last year, along a 54, a school record 54-yarder against Memphis. He transferred to Oklahoma late the spring. Chase Allen, who was their 2023 primary kicker, transferred to Rice. So next guy in line was Petro. He's done his job so far, but figure you need a lot of yards to get him into range. They'll hand it off again to Peterson. Tries to cut it outside, and not a whole lot doing. Williams the stop along with Cordes, and this clock will run out. First half will come to a close, and UTSA will take a 24-0 lead to the halftime locker room as they are 30 minutes away from their first win of this young 2025 season.
It is a young season, Errol, but I'll tell you what, 24-0, beautiful first half. I think it all attributes to the turnover that they created in the football game thus far.
Well, they outgained UIW by more than 100 yards. They got a touchdown from Robert Henry Jr. on the ground. They got a touchdown through the air to McEwen and Dishman. Owen McCown 18 for 21. And UTSA up 24-0 on crosstown UIW in the hometown showdown in San Antonio.
honor those student athletes this week on American's Best. This week's Volleyball Offensive Player of the Week is Charlotte's Kristen Birmingham. Birmingham led the 49ers to an undefeated weekend, averaging 6 points per set and 5.27 kills per set. She ranked in the top 5 in the nation in both points and kills per set. This week's Women's Soccer Goalkeeper of the Week is Rice's Kirsten Ruff. Ruff made 8 saves in Rice's 2-0 win over Lamar on Sunday. The junior recorded 6 saves in the first half, including 3 in the first 10 minutes and 2 in the second half. The Men's Soccer Offensive Player of the Week is Fumiya Shiraishi from Missouri State. Shiraishi scored a pair of goals in their 3-1 road win over Penn State. Football's Offensive Player of the Week is South Florida's Byron Brown. Brown finished with 329 yards of total offense to lead South Florida to an 18-16 win at number 13 Florida for the Bulls' second consecutive win against a top 25 opponent. He completed 23 of 36 passes for 263 yards and a touchdown and rushed for 66 yards on 17 carries. For more information on the weekly awards, you can visit our website at theamerican.org. Keep it right here. We have more coming up for you on ESPN+. Welcome into Studio A. I'm Maria Travelpiece. It was a great week for sports in the American Conference that brought a lot of upsets across the board. Because of that, we'll feature some of them on this week's top plays. We'll begin with Army, looking to rebound after losing last week. Colin Madison says, "I can help with that," makes the interception to seal the deal for the Black Knights. South Florida finished in a 1-1 draw with UCF, and a big reason why was goalkeeper Jaheim Wickham. Here he is with one save, but he's not done yet. Another shot, he says, "Not today." He finished with 8 saves on the night. We'll stay with the Bulls in play number 3, but this time we're heading over to the football field. Nico Gramatica with a chance to upset number 13 Florida. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Bulls silence the Swamp. Some more late game heroics, but this one coming on the soccer pitch. North Texas taking on Abilene Christian. Claire Niedermeyer in front of the net. She finds the back of it. Mean Green win. In play number 1, we're giving some love to the special teams. This is Florida Atlantic taking on Florida A&M. Pay attention to freshman Josh Roberts. Blaze past the protection, knocks that ball away. Then sophomore Lawrence Johnson picks it up in the end zone. If you see a top play this week, make sure you use the hashtag American Top Plays. Keep it right here. We have more coming up for you on ESPN+.
halftime on a beautiful Saturday in San Antonio in the hometown showdown. UIW made a trip that was less than 4 miles over the Alamo Dome to take on UTSA, who right now is in control. 24-0 lead. We look around the American. How about Oklahoma? Look in the park in Philly. They give Temple their first loss. Memphis with a big win against Troy. How about North Texas and Eric Morris against his former team where he was the OC? 42-3 partner at the half.
Wazoo behind the woodshed and getting after them at their home field, which is pretty impressive for the American Conference.
One other game of note, 18th ranked South Florida trails 5th ranked Miami 14-3. That game is delayed right now. Meanwhile, the slate tonight headlined by that game, bottom middle, Duke at Tulane. Darian Mensah, who many of you know came onto the map last year at Tulane, leading them all the way to the American Conference Championship game, transferred to Duke, got a big payday. He returns to face the Green Wave 8 Eastern on ESPN2.
That's going to be a very interesting game, especially for American. Tulane's for real. They played my son's team at South Alabama last week. Came away with a squeaker, but they did win, which was awesome.
John Sumrall can absolutely coach. If you don't know it yet, you're going to know it soon. That's a fun one. Other matchups to watch tonight as well on ESPN+. Here it's 24-0. All Roadrunners after a half a play here at the Alamo Dome. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. From the Riverwalk to the Roadrunners trying to run away from UIW in this opening half of the hometown showdown. Two San Antonio schools. Jeff Traylor's UTSA bunch trying to grab its first win of 2025. A resounding response from the Roadrunners in the opening half of play here today. You look at our game summary. Richard Torres threw the interception, could have had another one for UIW, whose long play in that first half was 22 yards. Owen McCown, very efficient, a lot of underneath stuff, but his receivers made it happen. And Coach, you mentioned the turnovers. 3 of them for UIW have led directly to 14 UTSA points.
Yeah, you got to protect the football. The turnovers right now, I call them hidden keys to a football game, where you have turnovers, you've got penalties, you got time of possession, and right now Incarnate is losing all 3 categories of that, and leads to a 24-0 score.
Well, it's never a good sign when you don't mention the UIW kicker until the second half kickoff. That was Ethan Brumgard, who does the kickoff duties, the lefty. Will Ferris is their place kicker typically, the Vanderbilt transfer. And so UTSA, who deferred to the second half, will get the ball to start the third quarter. So you see McCown's numbers. He hasn't thrown for a lot of yardage, but he's taken what the defense has given him. He's been efficient. At one stretch of time, he had completed 11 consecutive passes. 18 to 21 overall in that first half.
I think it's great by Owen. You know, you don't go broke if you make a profit. And what he's doing is he's moving the football team down the field. Good precision passes, short passing games. Receivers are doing their work and doing the rest.
He rolls out on first down, makes one man miss, and slides.
Good job of sliding. Good job of sliding while he's coming down the corner there. Old DeClan Williams was coming after him with his head full of steam coming.
Michael Plez makes the tackle after a pickup of 3 on first down. Motion man is Will Henderson. McEwen absolutely drills. And that's Barry Dillon, redshirt sophomore from Vicksburg, Mississippi. He actually played his high school ball in Texas at Arlington High School, so he's back home and sets up 3rd and long.
Dillon did a great job. They did another controlled short passing game. They ran a little fake revert, fly sweep, got it on the perimeter. Beautiful vision and break by Dillon.
You can see what UTSA has done on 3rd down. Much improved from their first 2 weeks coming in. They entered this game just 29% in the first 2. 4 in the pattern for McCown, who hands off to Henry, who breaks loose, and Henry might go again. Robert Henry Jr. is gone. A 74-yard strike. And Henry hitting the afterburners once again. A second touchdown rush today. He's over 100 yards on the ground for a 5th consecutive game dating to last season.
They spread out the offense here. 2 wide receivers on both sides, emptied the box, little handoff, missed tackle inside the hole. Safety takes a poor angle for him, and he is gone. We talked about his home run speed, and another long run for Henry. They're going to be starting selling old Henry candy bars all over UTSA's campus tomorrow.
Well, meanwhile, he missed extending his own record of 75-yard rushes in a game by 1 yard. And there is a flag.
I'm sure he'll take the 74-yard run, Jake.
Ruling on the field is a touchdown. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 3 of the offense. That's number 3's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul. That 15-yard penalty being enforced on the kickoff.
Well, another game, another Robert Henry long touchdown run. 5 straight games now he has had a 74-yard run or longer. And he now becomes the first UTSA Roadrunner to amass 5 consecutive 100-yard games in the grounds. Sincere McCormick did it twice. Kavorian Barnes did it once in terms of 4 straight 100-yard games. But this man has gone where no other Roadrunner has. Robert Henry Jr., another house call. How about 5 straight games with multiple touchdowns as well, leaving the defense in the dust. A 74-yard rushing touchdown. He's got 132 yards of the ground today. His 5th straight game of 100 or more yards is a UTSA record dating back to the final 2 of last season and the first 3 this season. 2 touchdowns for a 5th straight game. And he's had a rush of 74 yards or longer in each of those 5 games where he's amassed 100 or more yards. So this guy is on some kind of tear. That kick goes out of bounds. Won't make Jeff Traylor happy, and it'll give UIW a little field position. But it's pretty amazing to think about this guy's story, considering he didn't even know if he'd be back playing football
Free
after
kick out of
last year.
bounds. Kicking team. The ball be placed at the 50-yard line. First down.
I mean, he had to get the JUCO waiver just to get the extra year of eligibility. And when that happened, when he was on the plane ride back from their finale at Army, which he didn't play in last year with an ankle injury, he immediately texted the team, said, hey, I'm coming back. And he has come back with a vengeance in a big way.
He has. He's a really good football player. Had a baby in the offseason, stayed here with Coach, UTSA. Really great job.
E.J. Colson is the new quarterback for UIW. He swings it out to Chaden James for a gain of 5 yards. Colson is a capable backup. He's a redshirt freshman, but he spent time last year in the spring at Purdue. He began his career at UCF, played in 3 games and redshirted last fall. Hand off to Jalen Spears, tries to bounce it outside, and he's got a nice little crease on a gain of 7 yards and a first down for UIW.
DJ coming off the bench, getting a good hot streak, throws a bubble screen, comes right back with the zone inside. They're on the ball, marching again.
Colson with pressure on his backside, throws across his body, and that's complete. What a play by Colson, and UIW has themselves a touchdown. It's Jaden James. From 38 yards, Colson made all of that happen at the start, and then James with some wheels to get in the end zone for 6, and UIW's on the board.
Come out, they snap it quick. He gets out of his pocket, uses his feet, throws on the run, kind of just flicked it with his wrist there. Good catch by James with a little side move, and then he runs it into the end zone. This is one thing that EJ, I already noticed, brings to the table a little bit different than Torres, is he can run with his feet. He's a little bit mobile.
So James has his first touchdown as a UIW Cardinal. He came in leading the team in receptions. He's now got 4 catches today for 60 yards and a score.
A lot of that was all set up because we got the taunting penalty, so they had to kick the ball off from the 22. He kicks it out of bounds, so they start that thing at midfield from the 50-yard line. Penalties, penalties, penalties.
So UIW cashes in.
Big smile on James's face. Always good to get your first touchdown.
Well, E.J. Colson has to feel pretty good as well. That is his first career touchdown pass. And that's not easy to do. You're rolling across your body to make that throw 30 yards downfield. There's a reason why this guy, you look at his background, he was a 4-star recruit. He was ranked as high as the number 6 quarterback in his class. He actually reclassified to leave high school after his junior year. But there's a guy who in 3 years as a high school starter threw for more than 6,000 yards. And of Byron, Georgia, Cedar Grove High School. 2-time Georgia Player of the Year. Willie McCoy is driven down shy of the 20. And UTSA's offense will set up shop shy of the 20. Well, Robert Henry Jr. entered with 4 straight 100-yard rushing games. You can make it 5, 132 on the ground for him today.
He's an explosive running back. He's tough. We talked about it in the open with being able to run inside, outside, and here you see a little jump cut and his home run speed takes it into the end zone. This kid's the real deal, a total package.
He has had a touchdown rush of 74 or more yards on the first, second, and third play from scrimmage in the second half of each of the first 3 games for UTSA this season. As Will Henderson gets across the 20 and out to about the 22-yard line. So to put that in perspective, the first play of the third quarter from scrimmage against A&M, 75-yard touchdown run. First play against Texas State last week in the third quarter, actually second play, 75-yard touchdown run, and the third play from scrimmage in this third quarter, a 74-yard touchdown run.
Well, it's like 1, 2, 3. Probably next week he'll be on the 4th one, huh?
I guess so. Incredible what he's doing. McCown with all kinds of time. He'll load it up deep for Wilson. Got him in stride. Inside the 20. And he's loose. And he's gone. A 78-yard touchdown from McCown to Wilson. And UTSA running away from UIW. Up 30 once again early in the third.
They came back with just a little play action. Fake zone inside, sets up in the pocket there in man coverage. Olin throws a beautiful strike to Wilson coming down the football field. Tried to get a little heel tackle by Tisdale. Wilson runs through it, and everybody heard the band plays again.
A.J. Wilson now has 11 career touchdown catches. In his first 10, his average was 47 yards per touchdown grab. That number is going to go up after this one. How about McCown finding him over the top? And he runs away from the UIW defense for 6 more. Divide it by 11 and tell me what it is. Well, get 38-7 is the lead for UTSA on UIW early in this third quarter. Get all of ESPN College Football all in one place with the all-new ESPN app. Unlock with the ESPN Unlimited plan or log in with your TV provider today. If you're a college football fan, you gotta have it. As Joffer Murphy kicks into the end zone for a touchback. So we go back to that last play. McCown to Wilson. Longest completion of Owen McCown's career for 77 yards and a touchdown.
The whole key to this play is the tailback here. Got him circled here. He comes up inside, takes a little play action fake. The left guard gets beat on a pass rush move. He steps inside. He blocks the defensive tackle. Gives him time to throw it down. A strike by Owen McCown. And it's a run into the end zone for the touchdown.
First time that a UTSA player has caught a touchdown pass of more than 70 yards since Joshua Cephas, UTSA's all-time leading receiver in 2023 against East Carolina. Colson across his body finds James again. So those two have hooked up twice in 2 passes.
They did, and the one thing that's really changing up with UTSA, he's got to do a good job. Torres is a pocket quarterback. This guy's getting out on the perimeter. And he's getting him a second element of using his feet and his arm.
Clean pocket this time. And now he'll tuck and run. Right on cue, he dives ahead near midfield. They call him right at midfield. Brandon Tucker was the closest man in the area. Colson, we mentioned earlier, is a redshirt freshman from Byron, Georgia, out of Cedar Grove High School. Spent the spring at Purdue and West Lafayette after 3 games in a red shirt in Orlando with UCF last season. His best game was in their regular season finale against Utah. He was 8 for 12, and he actually did throw a touchdown in that game. So I misspoke when I said it was his first career touchdown, first UIW touchdown. Colson lofting it up for Garcia, and he overshot him with Davin Martin step for step out in coverage.
You overshot him. They got pure man coverage on that. They came on an all-out blitz. I think Garcia got away with a little bit of push there with his left hand. If he would have just kept on running and not slowed down for the push, he might have caught the football. A little overthrown by E.J. Colson.
Colson came on for Torres in the opening week 0 loss for UIW against Nichols. He had a 13-yard completion in that game and a couple of rushes for 7 yards. So this is his second appearance of the young season.
Timeout. UTSA, that's their first. It'll be 30 seconds.
Late substitution there. They tried to get their speed package in on their third down situation, going into their dime and with their rushers. It took too long to get the substitution. They had to burn the timeout.
At this point, both ways, that both teams obviously trying to build habits, and you're so early on in the season. You're trying to do things the right way, regardless of what the scoreboard says. UIW facing a 3rd down and 4. These two, again, have only matched up once previously. It came back in 2019. A 35-7 win for UTSA, who have never lost to an FCS opponent since their transition up to the FBS level in 2012. They did lose to Sam Houston when they were an FCS independent back in 2011. And that was a ranked Sam Houston team, the way UIW is a ranked FCS team today. Colson out pattern, caught James, first down. That's well done. Those two guys have a nice connection going here.
They have a really nice connection going, and a nice job of getting the ball out right before he gets hit on the blitz from the inside linebacker coming on a mug technique. Call that a mug technique. He's man-to-man on the back. When the back blocks, he comes on in and adds into the blitz.
Tim Carter with a seam, and Carter into the second level with a first down run of 10.
Tim Carter's a good slash, inside, downhill type of runner, as you saw right there, going through the B gap, which is between the guard and the tackle.
Colson with all kinds of time. And to the sideline he goes for Josh Lorick, senior from Adelanto, California. KK Meyer out in coverage.
Josh Lorick, that's the first time you called his name today, I believe. Coming into this game, he was one of their top receivers. He's a really good football player, specialist returner, good hands, good explosiveness.
And he had been targeted 14 times in their first couple of games, Coach, to your point. Very quiet so far today. That's one thing they've done. Again, no Jalen Walthall, their All-American wide receiver, so he's been the primary guy they're trying to stop. And meanwhile, Colson is blown up in the backfield, but he gets the way to Carter, who makes a man miss and dives ahead. Colson is showing something right now. To avoid that sack is impressive.
Very impressive. They come back in with an all-out blitz coming up right through the middle. They wrap him up. Okay, you can see it come in here. There's the blitz coming up inside. He ducks the first guy. Tackle has it.
For an injury.
Dumps it off into the flat over here to Carter. Makes one guy miss. Almost gets the first down.
There was an injured road runner. It is Don Munnerlin. And that is a position that they don't want to have. Like, they don't want injuries anywhere, period. But at that will linebacker position, which has produced. Was that Munnerlin or is that Marcellus Wilkerson? Yeah, it's actually Marcellus Wilkerson. 12, not 17. So that's the money linebacker spot. Wilkerson's still a good player in his own right in the TFL last week. Junior from Fort Worth, Texas, in his third year with the program.
He's a good football player. He has good fundamentals, tackles well.
Played at Garden City Community College to begin his college career. That's where UIW DC Jim Gush started his journey as a head coach. Colson, and he finds Lorick again. So they're starting to find some seams in this defense.
E.J. Colson's at a different dimension, has a little bit spark going on with these teams. Really like his quick release and accuracy at this point.
Carter into a wall. And now a flag. And another one comes to the back judge too.
And Wally just got a little extracurricular. There's his teammate getting after him a little bit, telling him to keep his composure. He backs up Banks as the linebacker spot. Getting some reps, and he overdid it there, didn't he?
Certainly looked like it. Now you get an opportunity, you got to make the most of it, but you don't want to.
After
go
the play was
way.
over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 34. Penalties half the distance to the goal, first down.
And James Wally Jr. picks it up.
See the play coming up inside here. Again, he throws a little punch. Then he comes a little extracurricular. Drives him down to the ground. Old Newsome. Old Newsome, man, he must be jaw-jacking out there because he seems like he's been part of all the little scuffles out there.
I was going to say, too, 6'2", 320. That takes a lot of shove to get a man like that down that easily. UIW, for the first time today, is into the red zone.
He might have done a LeBron flop there. Who knows?
Colson tried to design a run. It was blown up from the get-go. UTSA had about 5 guys there simultaneously. Shad Banks led the way. It's a loss of 5 yards on that first and goal.
There was absolutely nowhere to go on that one there, man. They're running kind of quarterback counter OT. They bring double pressure off the edge. Wyrick's there. Wahoo's there.
Yeah,
what a great play.
You can name the whole defense being there. Colson navigating traffic now. They're behind the chains in this goal-to-go situation.
You see Banks back in the game since coaches took Wally out after the personal foul.
5 in the pattern for Colson, who lofts to the end zone looking for James. He's got him. Touchdown UIW. And the second time in as many drives that Colson and James have hooked up for 6.
I'll tell you what, he comes off this bench and he put a spark into this offense.
A 15-yard dime.
They go empty receiver. They did a little swat wheel, and he comes over in man-to-man coverage. The DB couldn't get up over top of that. Nice job, perfect throw off the wheel slant there.
Now Colson drops a couple in the bucket for Chaden James, who now has 2 touchdowns in the last couple of drives for UIW. And this offense, which was pretty much going nowhere in the first half, has found itself here in the third quarter.
He came in here, old E.J. Colson comes in here with a spark. Okay, they come back out here. You see the little wheel, he comes up over the side. Like you said, he threw it up over top into the bucket for the touchdown. Beautiful throw, beautiful catch.
(38-14), UTSA on top of UIW. Hometown showdown. Couple of San Antonio schools and a couple of guys, and E.J. Colson and Chaden James, who have connected on back-to-back touchdowns. As Willie McCoy will get a chance to run this one out for UTSA. And he is dropped around the 15-yard line. It's a good tackle in space by Pig Cage, who is on to his 5th school in 6 years. He is a former UTSA Roadrunner, making a stop against his former team. Spent a couple of years playing here in San Antonio for the Crosstown team.
You're getting back to what you talked about before with E.J. Colson and my man James, 2 and 3. Jersey 2 and 3, right? That equals 6.
It does. Well, 2 plus 3. 2 times 3 is 6. There you go.
There you go. 2 times 3. There you go. Yeah, you must have been a math major.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate the guess as Henderson works forward for about 3 yards. He's stopped by Declan Williams, a preseason All-American linebacker for UIW. Look, we've seen far crazier things happen in a football game than with the midway point of the third quarter, it being a 24-point game. UTSA has been solid offensively, though. UIW has had a lot of trouble slowing them down. Can they keep the pedal to the metal here offensively? McCown rolling and looking. And throws along the sideline to Patrick Overmeyer, who is able to make the catch inbounds about 1.5 yards shy of a first down. Tyler Morton shoved him out.
It's a good job Really good job by Overmeyer coming back for the football. They did what we call a levels route. They had a guy going deep, Overmeyer in the middle, and then the tailback in the flat, which stretches the defense out there. And Overmeyer came back to the ball after the quarterback scramble. Nice job by McGowan throwing on the run.
UTSA is 6 for 10 on 3rd down. Average distance to get has been fewer than 6 yards. So a stark contrast with them and UIW, and they'll take a timeout here.
Timeout, UTSA, that's their second. It'll be 30 seconds.
Play clock was down to 3.
I know it was down to 3, but let me tell you something. That was an unbelievable coaching job by Incarnate Word. What happened on that play was they substituted with 15 seconds left in the game. So UTSA runs those guys off. Well, you have a 3-second count so the defense can substitute. So what happened was when the 3 seconds ran out, the clock is down to 9 now, and they just jogged in and jogged out. They weren't going to get the playoff, so they had to burn a timeout or take a delayed game. Really good job by Incarnate Word substituting late on the substitution by UTSA.
Are you telling me that 66-year-old Jim Gush, their defensive coordinator, has a couple of tricks up his sleeve?
That's what it sounds like. Hey, those guys with gray hair, man, you got to tell them they got some wisdom going for them.
This guy has been around a long time. Again, a football lifer, Jim Gush.
He is. I'm a little confused on why his hat says Cards upside down, but other than that, he's a good ball coach, man.
You put it in perspective. His college football coaching career began at Albany in 1983. That was 10 years before Clint Killough was born. Will Henderson right up the gut. He is close to the line to get. And they'll wave that forward for a 1st down. And he really, Jim Gush, you talk about UIW as a program, and everybody thinks of the high-powered offense. Of course, when you have the eventual #1 pick in the draft who started his college career at your spot in terms of Cam Ward, who began his college career here, you think about the offense and the way it's blown up statistically in the FCS, but the defense has been much improved the last couple of years. It's why they've become a perennial contender in the FCS.
Absolutely. You cannot win championships without good defense. That's for sure.
McCown to DJ Allen Jr., who falls down. He was upended by Dune Smith. Having a nice game at that weak side linebacker spot.
Nice little naked slip out with the receiver. It's the turf monster gets him here. Here we go, quick though.
On 2nd and 7. The give to Henry. Bounces outside, and he's tripped up. That's a great play in the open field by safety Drew Merrill.
Drew Merrill does a really nice job of coming in from his safety position. Makes a nice tackle on a really good tailback.
That's a loss of 2. That's only the 2nd run all year that's netted a negative for Robert Henry Jr.
Nice job him keeping his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, squeezing down. When Henry bounces back outside, he's able to make the play.
Can UIW's defense get off the field? On 3rd and 9. UTSA needs the 36. McCown with all kinds of time. To the sideline, that's caught by Allen. Tries to tightrope the sideline, but he was out of bounds. So good coverage along the sideline from Barry Dillon, the corner. And it'll bring up 4th down in a punting situation for UTSA.
Excellent job by the defensive back, obviously, but the people who get the credit there was that offensive line. The offensive line did a really nice job of keeping the pocket clean for Owen, take his time, was able to come to the check down. If he doesn't step out of bounds, he could keep moving the chains.
So we have not seen Cale Hogan have to punt a bunch today. This is only his 2nd punt. He sends a line drive in the direction of the dangerous Chaden James, who makes a couple men miss and slips ahead past the 35. Well, meanwhile, UIW has become quarterback U. How about Cam Ward starting it all off? You might remember the #1 pick in this past year's draft. Yeah, he began his career in San Antonio with the Cardinals. Jerry Rice Award winner back in 2020. You can see the numbers that he put up. He eventually set the NCAA record in Division I for touchdown passes overall with 158 stops at Washington State and Miami to follow. But then these two guys followed. Lindsey Scott Jr. won the Walter Payton Award for the top player in the FCS, and Zach Calzada in 2 years at UIW was terrific as well. He's now at Kentucky. E.J. Colson, who has led a couple of touchdown drives, throws along the sideline to Jackson Lowe.
Yeah, you got these guys here, and then you got Richard Torres, who I really like, who had a really tough day at the office today. And now all of a sudden, E.J. Colson steps up, adds a huge spark to this offense. So it is turning into a little bit of a FCS quarterback U program. I'll tell you what, they're doing a really nice job of recruiting, evaluating, and developing these quarterbacks.
Yeah, Lindsey Scott, a record 60 touchdown passes in that 2022 campaign under G.J. Kinney when they went to the FCS semifinals. He's now a assistant quarterbacks coach at Texas Tech, where former OC Mac Leftwich is now the offensive coordinator. They dump it off in the flat, and this is Harlan Dixon, who picks up a first down for UIW. So Dixon, who can catch it, he can run it. He's a former all-conference player at Southeastern in the Southland. Started his career at Louisiana Tech, 6th year of college football for him.
Owen Temple here, spreading the field out.
Colson starting to find a rhythm now, and he's got Lorick. And as they've gotten Lorick more involved, this offense has started to get humming.
It's really getting humming. I'll tell you what, he's doing a really nice job of finding Lorick and James. Comes a nice late substitution here. Getting fresh bodies in there to rush the quarterback because of this tempo.
A.J. Colson, who came on in relief of Richard Torres early in the third, is 10 for 11, 97 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2 drives and 2 scores. He's in a sense come out of the bullpen for Clint Killow in a similar way Richard Torres did once a couple of years ago. Hand off Dixon, and now they're starting to find running lanes, and that's what the pass game starts to open up.
Pass game setting up the running game. It's opening up some lanes. It's moving the clock. Excuse me, it's moving the change. The clock gets to stop on the first down. Here it's rolling, obviously.
Colson buying some time, and he can run. He takes off and slides shy of the 30. That might be a little bit of a mistake. I understand him protecting himself.
Yeah, he slid a little bit too early on that one, Jack. However, I'll tell you what, the thing that he adds to the dimension to this football game, which is making this defense a little crazy, is his feet. He can throw, absolutely. He's accurate, absolutely. But his feet movement is really good. There's a double pass coming out of the base.
The lefty throwing, and it wasn't being looked for by Dixon. It's picked off by Shad Banks. He's going the other way, and he's got a second interception in as many games here at home.
Tell you what, man, Shad Banks. Love this football player. Broke him down on video. Really good football player. I'll tell you what, he did not bite on this double pass here. See, EJ throws it back. Laura gets the ball, takes up a lefty, throws it, underthrows it. Banks comes up over the top. And what's that saying? I guess Banks just mossed him, huh?
You got mossed as a linebacker over the top.
Linebacker over the top. Randy Moss, if you're watching that one, I'm looking for that play tomorrow, baby.
Hey, Coach Steck calls for it, baby. Coach Steck calls for it. It happens.
You got to give some love out to a linebacker who does that.
Well,
beautiful job.
Banks had a huge pick as a freshman at Baylor back in 2021. Didn't have an interception in his next 3 years of college football. He's got 2 in 2 weeks.
That's amazing. I'm going to be disappointed if our guy Randy Moss doesn't put that on his highlight reel.
Well, meanwhile, the UIW rush defense has been swarming. They say they've got the football. Let's see what the call is here.
The ruling on the field is the runner's forward progress was stopped prior to the ball coming loose, second down.
Let's say progress was stopped. Lloyd Johnson led the way up front. Help from linebacker Declan Williams as well.
Declan Williams is having a really good football game today. He's showing up in the run game, the pass game. He's doing a nice job of pressuring the quarterback in the pass game. He's having himself a nice little day out there.
Will Henderson into traffic. There's Williams again. Only a gain of a couple of yards. They'll bring up third down in about 7. Now, we talked about UIW and their ability to stop the run. Yes, they allowed the big 74-yard run by Henry. And look, it's not like you can negate that. That was a miscue. But outside of that, 26 rushes. The other 26 rushes have gone for about 100 yards. So
it's an interesting third down because they're going to have to snap the ball. It's about a half a second between the shot clock and the game clock.
With 5 seconds to go in the quarter, they find Henderson. And he is loose, and he has a first down. And that takes us to the end of the third quarter here at the Alamo Dome.
That's the end of the third quarter.
The UTSA has forced 4 turnovers. They've already scored 14 points off the first 3 giveaways from UIW. See if they can cash in again. To the fourth quarter we go. It's the Roadrunners by 24. Start of the fourth quarter at the Alamo Dome. 38-14, UTSA leading UIW out of the FCS in the Southland Conference. Hometown showdown. Couple of San Antonio schools in very close proximity. UIW's trip over here today about 3.7 miles.
That sounds pretty darn accurate.
Yeah, it was 3.7 on the dot, I guess. It was 24-0 at the half in favor of UTSA. 14-all in the third. Owen McCown to work for UTSA. Launching it deep and knocked away in coverage. A great play by Chris Pierce, the safety. They were looking for William McCoy. who last year set the UTSA single season record for yards per reception. He's their deep threat.
Nice job here catching up. He had him beat by a step, caught up, comes back across with his right hand, knocks the ball out. You'd like to see him kind of wrap with that right hand, knock it out with his left hand, but an excellent play by Chris Pierce.
A.J. Wilson, who earlier had a 77-yard touchdown catch. By the way, I've got the updated numbers because I'm a nerd with such things, partner. He's got 11 career touchdown catches, does A.J. Wilson, 84 in blue. He is averaging now, if you update it, 49.5 yards per touchdown catch in his career. That's pretty good.
That's very good. He's a good-looking athlete. Long arms, good eye-hand coordination, and he can run. Big third down here.
Can UIW's defense get off the field again? McCown with time. He'll roll. He's in trouble. Spins out of it. Fires along the sideline over the head of Wilson. And that's great pursuit from UIW's defensive front.
Really good job by the defensive front. A three-man rush. They went cover 8, which means they drop 5 underneath, 3 deep zone. McCown does a good job keeping his feet alive, comes out of the pocket. Not sure if he was throwing the ball away or just overthrew the young man because the receiver was wide open there in the flat. But he was under duress, that's for darn sure.
So UTSA, after punting once in the first half, is going to punt for a second time in as many drives. Cale Hogan will send it away. And that is Tyler Morton, who falls right at the 10, right about where he caught it. Well, the American on ESPN Plus is home to 40+ college football games, over 1,000 exclusive live events, and every American Conference championship throughout the season. For more information and to sign up, visit stream.espn.com. Lots of good games on ESPN Plus and the American tonight. Of course, the showcase game in the conference on ESPN2 tonight, Tulane and Duke, but lots of great ones throughout the season on E+. And E.J. Colson in this UIW offense back to work. Colson had it humming until they took the ball out of his hands. Lorick was the one who threw the interception, the wide receiver.
Yeah, sometimes that trickery comes back and gets you. Good play fake, good
wide open,
slam.
And they've got Jamison Garcia streaking near midfield. And he's into UTSA territory on one play.
I think what happens a lot of times, you see some backup football players in here for UTSA, and they got to execute when they come in there. You always tell these guys that you got a responsibility here, and they're giving up too many big plays, explosive plays.
Colson's now 13 for 14. He'll air it out, looking along, and incomplete. Only man in the area was Chaden James. There were 3 Roadrunners surrounding him.
You know, you go back, you mentioned that they did the double pass and through the interception. As we look here at the Garcia play, good play fake, little slant up inside, takes the ball, locks it away. Nice job by them tracking him down and making the tackle.
That was a 39-yard gain. And that last incompletion for Colson, by the way, was just his second.
You know, the point you were making, here's another substitution coming in late, which is good. The point you were making about throwing the double pass and the interception, they're +4. UTSA is +4 in turnover margin. Gives you a 98% chance to win a football game.
Colson rolls out of the pocket, and he'll scamper out of bounds, getting about a yard.
Good pressure up front, really good coverage on the back end. What I really like about that back end coverage, when he starts scrambling, it's called match the coverage. That zone turns into man-to-man, and Colson had nowhere to go with the football.
You can see the night and day difference for this offense, which totaled 90 first half yards. Completely different story, nearly at 200 in this second half.
Yeah, he's definitely added a spark to this offense. They're behind a couple scores. You want to know, wondering if it's a 4-down territory for them.
They need the 39. Colson sideline complete, and Garcia is wrapped up and pulled down. Good tackle from Davin Martin, And you figure this would be go-for-it territory here. There is a UIW
Timeout
lineman
for an
slowing
injury
it up.
to an offensive player.
Can't tell if that's 76.
It looks like
Petty.
looks like Brandon Jackson, who is down. He's one of the backup offensive linemen for this UIW team. Well, after this delay, it'll be a 4th down and 6. You figure Clint Killow probably a roll the dice moment regardless, especially down 24 and kind of playing with house money here.
Yeah, you're down 24. I'm not a big analytic guy. But here's a situation where you're 4th and 6, down 24 with only 12 and a half left to go. This is definitely a go-for-it territory here.
Brandon Jackson, by the way, is a grad transfer from Texas A&M Kingsville. He is a San Antonio native, so he's playing for his hometown team at UIW.
On this 4th and 6 now, in my opinion, what you got to do with Colson is you got to get him on the perimeter somewhere. Let him be able to run or throw. Throw with his accuracy or use his feet to get the first down.
This will be their first 4th down attempt of the game. They are 4 for 5 to start this season on 4th down. Empty set for Colson. They need 6. They need the 39 of UTSA. Pressure coming. Colson's pass deflected and knocked away, incomplete. And a turnover on downs. Jermarius Lewis with the knockaway. Senior from Summit, Mississippi.
I'll tell you what, they empty the backfield. They go quick slants on both sides. And Jermarius Lewis does an unbelievable job of vision and break on the blitz. Man-to-man, comes in here, breaks it down, almost picks it off. Excellent play, defensive play.
(38-14) UTSA on top of UIW in the hometown showdown here in San Antonio. There's a very quick look along the river walk. Those folks having some fun on a beautiful Saturday here in San Antonio.
But they're missing a heck of a football game.
Early 4th quarter. A couple of running backs next to Owen McCown, who swings it out to DJ Allen. And he's upended by Tyler Morton around the 47-yard line. Felt the 48.
Let me tell you something. What I'm very impressed with right now is, obviously we know that they're down 24 points, but the way Coach Gush has his defense flying around, attacking the football, running inside out. Williams is having an outstanding football game. I'm very impressed with their attitude and their motivation.
McCown. He's got Robert Henry Jr. Room to run and a first down pickup for him. So he's done it with his legs. We talked about the 130 yards rushing and 2 scores. He now has a second catch today as well.
This guy's an all-around back. I'd like to see what his future is going to be, not only the rest of this football season, but going on into the NFL, into the league, because this guy's explosive, very good hands, quicker than a hiccup. I'll tell you what, man, I really, really like this young man.
From Lumberton, Mississippi. Population's a little more than 2,000. Not far from Hattiesburg in southern Mississippi. There's that little jump cut at the line of scrimmage. He's loose again.
Not only the jump cut, sorry to interrupt you, but not only a jump cut, but as soon as he comes out of this, okay, as we go back, and beautiful camera work here, look at the little jump cut, but then boom, look at the acceleration up through the hole there,
defense,
coming through the middle.
6, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, first down. Number 3 for the offense, they stay in the game because his helmet came off as a result of the foul.
Tyler Morton got charged with the penalty for UIW's defense knocking off Henry's helmet. So Henry could stay in the game if he wanted to, and he will, on cue, run right back in. And Will Henderson comes to the sideline. Well, here's what he's done over his last 5 games rushing. Remarkable. You go back to the final 2 games of last season. Remember, he didn't play in their final 2 games, but his final 2, 168, 178, North Texas and Temple, 177 and 159 against A&M and Texas State to start this year, and 139 more today. There he is again. And Henry lowers the shoulder. And he is down to the 15.
The thing I like about Henry, though, too, is this guy here has the speed on the outside, the quickness with a running back. But as you see there, he can go downhill and add a boom to the end of his tackles. He's 205 pounds. He plays with great body lean, shoulder pad level. I'm very, very impressed with Robert Henry Jr.
Hard to believe that this guy started his career at the JUCO level at Jones College. Spent 2 years there. Was the JUCO Player of the Year, and he has been a gem for UTSA. Shovel pass again. We've seen that a few times. That was a dangerous one to Overmeyer. And he falls forward to the 13.
Yeah, they get in that 21 personnel, which is 2 backs, 1 tight end, and they fake the sweep to the weak side and shovel it back underneath to the tight end. Nice little design, but well defended that time by UIW.
So 3rd down and 3 at the 13. They can get 1st and goal at the 10. Henry next to McCown. They fake the handoff to Henry. McCown lofting end zone and just through the outstretched arms of A.J. Wilson, who could have had a 2nd touchdown today.
Yeah, overthrew him. Nice little play action fake up inside. Good play action fake inside. He kind of gives a semi-roll off to the boundary here. Little hesitation, slant, and then go. Has him wide open, just overthrows him a little bit. That was a really tough situation there because McCown's moving to his right, and he's a left-handed quarterback.
Michael Petro made from 26 yards in the 1st quarter. This is from 31. So he's 2 for 3 so far in the young season. Hogan puts it down. Kick on its way, and it is true. And UTSA gets 3, and they are north of 40 in this hometown showdown against UIW. 41-14. A little more than 9 to go in the 4th. 41-14, UTSA on top of UIW. A little more than 9 to go in this fourth quarter. Jeff Traylor's team looking for its first win on this young season. Jeff Traylor was honored over the summer in a big way. Went into the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame. And look who's sitting next to him. Patrick Mahomes. Yes, that is the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, who started Whiteside back in the day. But Jeff Traylor, for all his years in coaching, of course, led Gilmer to 3 state titles, 5 title game appearances. An incredible honor for him.
Incredible honor. Well-deserved, may we add.
Fair catch waved for by UIW. They'll get the ball to 25. You know, we were talking to Jeff Traylor about this, and he said, yeah, you know, I told my family the ceremony was happening over the summer, and there wasn't a lot of interest in my kids, you know, coming along. And I told him, hey, you know, then they found out I'm going to be in there with Patrick Mahomes, and all of a sudden the kids were like, hey, wait, we want to go too.
Yeah, I can understand that. That doesn't count, but all of a sudden you're going in with Patrick Mahomes, and oh, by the way, RG3 was also in that same induction class. So the kids went from I don't want to go to front row seats, and they were taking kind of a bunch of pictures with Patrick Mahomes and not with Coach Traylor. But that's the life of a coach, man.
Well, that was in May, and he also went into another Hall of Honor for Texas high school coaches in July. But a pretty good class he went into there with Mahomes and RG3, as E.J. Colson and UIW go back to work, and he is going nowhere. He's sacked and brought down for a loss of 3. Now a flag comes in late, and UTSA not happy about it.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 13. 15-yard penalty, be first down. Number 2 can stay in the game. His helmet came off as a result of that foul.
So that is on Chidera Otutu, who is the nose tackle, sophomore from Pflugerville, Texas. And Jeff Traylor, in his 6th season here at UTSA, he's made this a very tough place to win for road opponents. Texas State came in here last week and stopped a win streak of 10 straight. That was tied for the program's longest home win streak in history since the program launched in 2011. They also did it under Traylor from 2020 to 2022, won 10 straight home games. Lorick blown up. That ball's knocked away. It's going to be called incomplete. And I think one of the
really good job on the screenplay here. He dumps it off. Rogers makes a great look at his speed coming in there. Does a nice job of wrapping up and stripping at the same time, and shows you the gun.
Kavian Rogers, redshirt sophomore from Dangerfield, Texas. He had 3 tackles last week. He had a near pick 6 against A&M in their opener in week 1. 2nd and 10 for Colson. That's complete. Jimmy Wyrick is there to meet the target, Jamison Garcia, who now has 80 yards receiving on the day. 3rd and 4. Colson lofts it in the flat. Great catch by Carter. He stumbles. He keeps moving forward and reaches the ball across the line to gain for a first down. That's some good effort there from Carter, the redshirt junior back.
Really good effort going inside there. Nice job of the slants taken away. He looks for the check down. Carter gets the ball, makes one guy miss, and stretches the ball across to get the first down. Keep the clock moving, and chains moving, and UIW moving with 8 minutes left in the game.
If there's one thing you know about a Clint Killow coach team, they are not going to stop putting the pedal to the metal offensively. This is a program that's had a knack for knocking off FBS teams. They were looking for Lorick along the sideline. Davin Martin had the coverage. And it'll bring up 2nd down and 10. UIW, in fact, they lost in Clint Killow's coaching debut at UTEP back in 2023. Prior to that, had back-to-back wins against FBS opponents. Knocked off Nevada, that was under G.J. Kinney in 2022, and knocked off Texas State and San Marcos in 2021. And that was following losing their first 7 matchups against FBS competition. But this is not the same UIW that FBS teams were facing when this program first started back in 2009. This is a perennial power now in the FCS.
They absolutely are. And you just said started in 2009. They've only been 16 years in existence.
Out route caught. That's a nice grab on the sideline by Lorick, who has certainly gotten himself more involved. You mentioned he had to get involved, Coach, in the second half, and he has. 5 catches, 4 of them coming in the second half.
E.J. Colson's doing a really nice job of finding him, but he's doing a really good job of distributing the ball like a point guard out there. He is rolling outside the pocket. Excellent job on that. Here's where they got to use with this young man. Yes, he can throw from the pocket, but you get him out in the perimeter where he has that option of running and throwing. He's got good quick feet, and he's got some explosiveness.
He's got a career high in passing yards with 173. He's completed 16 of his 21 passes, the 2 touchdowns to Chaden James. And again, UIW without its All-American wide receiver, their best player, Jalen Walthall, out today with a shoulder injury. Inside 7 to play in the 4th in a 41-14 game. This is Jalen Spears, who was the 2023 Southland Player of the Year at Nichols. I think Clint Killow saw him run for 160 yards in San Antonio back in 2023 and said, you know, this guy would be nice to add to my backfield, and he's got him on board now.
Yeah, they do a really nice job recruiting at Incarnate Word. Big third down here. Big third down. I would expect maybe a run here because they're in 4th down territory.
Colson lofting deep for James again, and he's got the hat trick. A 3rd touchdown from E.J. Colson to Chaden James. This one from 36 yards out.
UTSA is playing 2-man. What that means is there's 5 men underneath in man-to-man coverage. Here in the cover 2, they don't sink and hinge. The safety got his hips turned the wrong way. Doesn't come off the hash to come over there to help on that throw. Nice job by recognition by CJ getting the ball up and out. The safety's got to keep his hips square so he can drive to the sideline and knock that pass out.
How about 3 second half touchdown passes from E.J. Colson? All 3 to Chaden James.
Well, we talked about it, right? 2 times 3 is 6.
There you go. A new Cardinal connection.
Timeout. UIW, that's their first. It'll be 30 seconds.
Forming right in front of our eyes. So with Walthall out, somebody had to step up, and James has done just that.
Yeah, you watch this with the play action fake here. Coming up here. They do a little play action fake, come up inside here. They're playing cover 2. All right, the corner's got to sink and hinge further, but you see the safety on top where his hips were. He's got to do a complete 180 to come back around to try to come over to the corner on this fade route, and a beautiful throw and catch for the touchdown.
Now James had a number of 100-yard receiving games in his time at Idaho State, played 2 years at the FCS level there. He was a finalist for the Peyton Award back in 2023 when he had more than 1,000 yards receiving. But he has never caught 3 touchdowns in a game in his career until today. And they will go for 2 now. 41-20, so they'll try to make it a 19-point game. For those doing the math at home, that makes it 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions, and then a field goal instead of needing 3 touchdowns. Colson to the end zone, incomplete. Looking for his tight end Jackson Lowe. But E.J. Colson and Chaden James, the 2-3 connection 3 times over here in this second half. What a show they've put on. 41-20 UTSA here in the 4th. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. From San Antonio, Texas on this Saturday, UIW,
for UTSA,
after being shot in the first half,
45.
has scored 3 second-half touchdowns. All by Chaden James on the receiving end of E.J. Colson passes. E.J. Colson came on at quarterback in the second half, and UIW is going to go onside kick here. So they declared it. It pops up in the air, and Shad Banks, what else? Able to recover the onside as well to go with his interception today and numerous big plays defensively. So, of course, you have him on the hands team as well.
That shows you what kind of football player he is when you have your starting inside linebacker on the hands team. Last time I saw that, I was at Mizzou. We had a kid who was drafted in the first round named Sean Witherspoon.
He was a good one.
He was a great one.
You coached some good ones over the years, didn't you? I should say you should coach some great ones over the years.
Yeah, I've been blessed. I was blessed. That's why we did so well. We had great players.
And they had a great coach too, Steck.
I appreciate you saying that.
And handoff to Will Henderson, and he's able to push the pile forward to the 39-yard line of UIW. So Owen McCown and some of the starting offense still out there. No Robert Henry on this drive yet. See if this is Will Henderson's drive to be the lead back. Inside 6 to play. They're running this clock down on each snap.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of running down the clock. In my opinion, though, this is the time to get Brandon Tennyson in there. Get Owen out. Owen's playing a super football game. Did a really nice job. Here's your chance to get your backup some work and reps because you never know when you're going to need them.
Henderson was a sprinter on the UTSA track team last spring. But you can't run if you can't hide from the UIW defense. And they were there to swarm him. Ja'Kai Pulley, along with Caleb Lewis, who is a former UTSA Roadrunner.
Yeah, nice job of bringing the blitz off the corner on the run game.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 6. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And Tyler Morton gets called for a face mask.
That makes it really tough. You do a nice job, you get him down there, make a good big play, you're going to have him on third down, you get the face mask. Now they're moving to chains. Gives them a whole new fresh set of downs.
I was going to say Tyler Morton is a very good football player. He was an All-American safety at Nichols. He's a preseason All-American for UIW. He has been called for a couple of costly penalties today for UIW, who have now committed 8 of them for more than 70 yards. I mean, that has been a crusher.
That's something they got to clean up before they get into league play for sure, is the penalties.
McEwen in motion. Henderson gets the handoff, and he is stymied as he crosses the 25 to the 24.
I like that design because what they do is they fake the fly sweep coming up across the formation, draws the linebacker a little bit, and then they run the counter OT. OT stands for opposite guard and tackle, and they come up on the counter play up inside on the linebacker to move the pile. It's a nice little scheme.
Second and 7. Clock continuing to dwindle down here in this fourth quarter. UTSA is on their way to its first win of 2025. Again, they lost a rare home game last week to Texas State, stopped their 10-game home win streak. They have not lost back-to-back home games since 2019. It's never happened under Jeff Traylor.
It ain't going to happen today either.
Screen pass, McEwen. He had a touchdown like this earlier. He tightrope's the sideline, and he's in for 6 more. A second touchdown today for Devin McEwen. This one from 24 yards out. And the final cherry on top of a dominant day for the Roadrunners here at home.
Simple little now screen. We call it now because the quarterback gets the ball. He throws it right now to the receiver. Got a block on the perimeter. And McCown just takes it up inside. Outside, rather. See the nice block here by the tight end. Ooh, a little holding, a little grab on the outside. But a good job by Overmeyer. Devin takes it outside and up the sideline for the touchdown.
Second career game for McEwen with 2 touchdown catches. And Owen McCown with 4 touchdown passes has matched his career high. He's now done it 3 times. Last year did it at Tulsa and against Memphis. And 48 points for a UTSA offense that last week, look, the offense really wasn't the problem until late in the game when they couldn't convert on that final drive. I mean, they scored enough to win that game. They just had trouble stopping Texas State early, but this has to feel good as an offense. That's going to feel good all around, including for that man, Devin McEwen.
Devin made a nice play there, but what feels good all around, quite frankly, is talking to the coaches at UTSA and talking to them through their walkthroughs and stuff, is they really had to clean up the explosive plays. There has been some explosive plays against them today, but compared to the last two games, they've done a nice job of creating that, and what they got to do is continue on that path of not giving up the explosive. And for the viewers out there, we talk about explosive plays. Those are anything over 20 yards or more.
So McEwen with touchdown grabs of 13 and 24, both on screen passes. Jaffer Murphy will kick it off. And that's over the head of Chaden James. 4 explosive plays, Coach, to your point, for this UIW, I should say UTSA offense. And McCown.
You know, the thing that was tough about that last possession, too, was I completely understand the logic of going for the onside kick. Kicker's got one job to do, wasn't a very good kick. They get field position, you know, inside the plus 50. Didn't have very far to go. Really good job by UTSA and Owen McCown taking them down there into the end zone quickly for a huge 28-point lead.
Well, the game where UTSA is going to run away with the win, it's 48-20 right now. We're late in the fourth. E.J. Colson is showing out in a big way. He breaks a couple tackles here. Even the elusiveness there to avoid the sack. You start looking forward for UIW. Now, this is a team, we were talking about them, 56 straight weeks ranked. That's not going to change after losing to UTSA in San Antonio, an FBS opponent, but they have scheduled tough year in, year out. It's something that they really have changed to try for higher seeds come FCS playoff time. Colson has been outstanding. Now, Torres entered the season as QB1, but with the way Colson's played, as Jalen Spears gets a seam and gets a first down, there's no question that there is going to be a question at quarterback as far as what they'll do moving forward. Spears is down in pain. That's not good.
You see their next 5 games here that
Injury timeout.
he's showing, and why we had the injury here is Northern Arizona. Abilene Christian is going to be a really tough game. That's a really well-coached football team.
By the way, Coach, Northern Arizona, they're ranked 18th as well. They're top 20 in the FCS.
They are. They're a good football team, but they haven't been there like UIW has been.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you have that winning culture. You got to go on the road here to Arizona. That's going to be a big game. Abilene Christian is going to be a huge game here in the state of Texas for an FCS level. And after that, Stephen F. Hoffman, not bad, but now they get into the meat and potatoes of their schedule, and they got a chance as long as they got to correct the explosives on defense. They've got to correct the penalties big time. And I think they're going to have an outstanding football year.
Well, there's a lot of concern right now for Jalen Spears, who is down. He's a Nichols transfer. He's a young man from New Orleans and a brother Martin, where he starred in high school. He was a all-state pick 2 times over, and good to see him walking off under his own power. So he's able to hop up. This guy was the 2023 Southland Player of the Year. Part of that was his explosive stretch down towards the tail end of the season, I should say. That included rushing for 160 against UIW in a road win in the last time UIW lost a home game. That was back on November the 4th of 2023. So you talk about UTSA being a good home team. UIW has won 9 home games in a row since. And 18 of their last 19.
That's a heck of a streak, and that's a good thing because Abilene Christian's a well-coached football team, and they got them at home, so that'll be an advantage to Incarnate Word.
They have been very tough to beat at Tom and Gail Benson Stadium. Just about 4 miles away from where we are here. Colson rifles over the middle, deflected, and incomplete.
Nice job of Lewis again, getting his hands on the football, making a pass breakup.
James Wally Jr. got his hands up there as well.
Yeah, I made a mistake on that. I was Wally 34, not 14.
You're completely forgiven, partner. 2nd and 10 for UIW. Rolling towards 3 to go in this 4th quarter. Colson against pressure, and that's over the head of his intended target, Matt Ramirez, who had his first career catch earlier in this game. I'll tell you what, if you're UIW too, one thing, and we've talked about it, and he's on the sideline in street clothes today, Jalen Walthall is an All-American wide receiver. We've talked about how good Chaden James has been. You add Walthall into the mix with the weapons they have in the receiving core, it's going to spell trouble for a lot of FCS secondaries.
Absolutely, and here's what the sports fans got to see out here is there's still a separation between an FBS school and an FCS school. This is big brother playing little brother. This is a money game for Incarnate Word. They only had to go 3.7 miles down the road to get it. And there's a really good football team. They're playing an FBS opponent.
Now Colson goes down. UTSA able to swarm and sack him back at the 36-yard line. And UIW, for the first time in a while, left the punt after Colson led 3 consecutive touchdown drives. They had the turnover on downs, and now they left the punts. But to your point, the area, and I think you'd agree with this, Coach, we were talking about this, the area when you talk FBS, FCS, usually it's the line play, the interior play, where you see the biggest difference in average up front. UIW's athletes, I'd go out there and say they can compete with anyone in FBS football with the speed they have on the outside, especially. Nice looking punt here from Ryan Schamberger, and a fair catch made by Elliott Bro.
I definitely agree with you on the spill concept and your analogy of the offensive and defensive line. There's no debate in that.
Obviously, depth is a huge thing. I mean, FBS, you're going 3-4 deep every position.
Well, that's one thing, and one of the things that fans got to know is on the FBS level, now with the new rules, you get about 9,500 guys on scholarship. Where on the FCS level, you only have 63 scholarships that you can break up over 85. So some of these guys are partial scholarships, some guys are full scholarships, but there's a big differential on that.
Now here's Brandon Tennyson, redshirt sophomore from Gilmer, Texas. Gilmer High Product. Yes, that is where Jeff Traylor won his 3 state titles as a high school coach. Big reason why he got into the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame. And Tennyson threw a 34-yard touchdown pass to A.J. Wilson in their season opener at A&M. He enrolled in January of 2023, was a 3-year starter at Gilmer. 3 state titles for him. 2-minute timeout, 48-20, UTSA on their way to their first win. 48-20 UTSA. We've hit the 2-minute timeout here in the fourth quarter. And this hometown showdown at the Alamo Dome. Two San Antonio schools. UTSA was up 24-0 after the first half. UIW's offense got rolling a little bit here in the second half. Robert Henry Jr.'s day is done. He ends up with 144 yards on the ground as Brandon Tennyson hands off to one of UTSA's backup runners, Amarion Peterson. Henry, with the 144 rush yards today, becomes the first UTSA player to ever rush for 100 or more yards in 5 consecutive games. So history for him and this UTSA program. He's also had 2 touchdowns in 5 straight games, and he comes up 6 yards shy of what would have been a 5th straight 150-yard game, but I think he'll take the W.
Absolutely, you always take the W. You know, the thing that's making me chuckle up here too is it's their 2 minutes, they're running out the clock. I get the whole big picture here, but Justin Burke, who's called a heck of an offensive game for UTSA, on that last play showed an unbalanced set just so other teams have to practice it.
It's a good call. You as a coach know it all too well, right? You're always thinking about the chess match ahead. Now Peterson on the carry again. And it'll be 4th down. They'll have to either punt this ball away or take a knee with the clock differential. And that'll be all she wrote. You give UIW credit for battling back the way they did in this second half, but this one's going to feel good for UTSA. They absolutely had to get back in the win column. Had never started 0-2 under Jeff Traylor, let alone 0-3. And after 2 very tough games to start. In fact, they're the only team in FBS that we know of that played 3 in-state teams to start their season. You go to A&M, a top 25 team in week 1. You play Texas State in the battle for I-35 week 2. You lose a shootout, more pushing and shoving. And UIW, your crosstown school. Now this, you don't want to escalate any further, especially given that we're 22 seconds away from this game being over. Clint Killo's telling his team to stay away, as is Jeff Traylor.
Yeah, there's no cause for that. There's just, I understand the tempers. It's just, you know, someone getting, you know, spanked out there a little bit.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct on both teams. Number 22 of the receiving team, number 44 of the kicking team. Those fouls all set. It'll be 1st down. That's number 22 and number 44's first unsportsmanlike conduct fouls of the game.
Better temper, better consciousness has to prevail at times like this. The game's out of hand, and it's just a matter of tempers, emotion. You got to walk away from it.
Well, UTSA all smiles on that sideline. You can see Robert Henry Jr. getting some high fives from teammates.
Yep, winning's fun. Winning's fun, and losing takes a little bit off your life when you're a coach.
Well, they're going to get ready to take on a Colorado State team in Fort Collins next week, who has had a bye week the same way UIW had a bye week to get ready for UTSA. So they'll be well rested. That's a CSU team coming off an 8-win campaign. In fact, all the non-conference opponents for UTSA won 8 or more games a season ago. And the final seconds will dwindle down here at the Alamo Dome. UTSA wins the hometown showdown here in San Antonio. These 2 nearby schools. 48-20, UTSA grabs its first win of 2025. Owen McCown ties a career best 4 touchdown passes. Robert Henry Jr., how about the first UTSA player ever with 5 straight 100-yard rushing games, and they run away from UIW in the end, Coach.
I'll tell you what, Henry's very impressive, knew that coming in. Owen McCown, I'll tell you what, Owen McCown really got I jumped on his bandwagon today. Accurate thrower, good team leader, ran when he had to run. Very impressed with him.
Impressive all around from UTSA. Credit UIW as well for coming on the road and battling in the second half the way that they did. That'll do it for us. For my partner Dave Steckel, producer Jeff Graham, director Kevin Shank, Our spotter Mark Kusenberger and statsman Kirk Cumey, Jack Benjamin sing so long from the Alamo Dome. Final score, UTSA 48, UIW 20. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. It's been a presentation of ESPN.